Don't miss it.
At the Sydney Poitier Bridge, I'm Kaylin Green. This is ZNS.
It's What's Trending with Jiminita Swain and the Bahama Beauty at the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas from Studio A. It all starts right now.
Hello and welcome everyone. It's Wednesday, March 19th, and you're tuned in to the ultimate destination for all things lifestyle, entertainment, and everything in between. I'm Jiminita Swain, and you're watching What's Trending, the show where we bring you the latest trends, hottest news, and insider tips on living your best life. Whether you're here for fashion, food, fitness, or the latest buzz from social media, we've got you covered. Let's dive in. NAD making it clear that the major upgrades underway at runway 1432 at the Lynden Pindling International Airport are continuing, but will mean some delays to travelers. Western Air raised concerns this week, and NAD says while every effort is being made to minimize disruptions, it acknowledges that a project of this scope and scale can result in some extended wait time. The project kicked off February 3rd and is a critical part of the airport's long-term infrastructure improvements aimed at enhancing safety and operational efficiency. Well, today, March 19th, is observed as International Read to Me Day. It's celebrated to encourage the love of reading and highlights the importance of early literacy. This day promotes reading aloud to children, fostering their language skills and imagination. Celebrating this day emphasizes the positive impact of storytelling on a child's development. To make it memorable, parents, teachers, and caregivers can dedicate time to read aloud to children, share favorite books, or even organize reading events at schools or libraries. It's a wonderful opportunity to inspire a lifelong love of books and learning. And it may not tickle your fancy, but while it was once dubbed the world's ugliest animals, the blobfish is selected as Fish of the Year for a New Zealand environmental group. The Mountain to Sea Conservation Trust hosts the annual competition, which raises awareness for New Zealand's freshwater and marine life. This year, the blobfish secured 1,300 out of more than 5,500 boats cast. And we have an interesting show for you today. If you're seeking employment, we'll provide some answers for you. Also spreading the message of hope through music and the benefits of the Golden Yoke program. You're watching What's Trending. There's more after the break.
At the International Tourism Exchange Berlin 2025, a premier platform for thousands of exhibitors to expose their destinations to a wider global audience, Director General of the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Latia Duncombe, laid out what the islands of the Bahamas are bringing to the table.
We are here at ITB 2025, the world's largest travel trade show, and our calendars have certainly been very busy. Meetings with the trade, the travel trade, airline partners, discussing initiatives and opportunities. It was just 2 years ago here at ITB where we discussed the Google Street Map view opportunity. And at the moment, we have the vehicles in the islands of the Bahamas curating the content, making sure that visitors far and wide can have a virtual experience in the destination. And it's all about the islands of the Bahamas, all 16. We know that the out islands, the family islands, are always up front and center and always a preferred destination with our European travelers. And certainly we're showing what we have to offer as a product, as a brand. It's just an amazing time.
Later, at Bahamas Night, the Director General also took the opportunity to congratulate the People to People program on reaching its 50th anniversary.
Bahamas Night is historic, it's iconic. We've been having it here at ITB year after year after year. And each year, our team in Europe, led by Senior Director Anthony Stewart, has always ensured that the theme was so appropriate and that visitors far and wide remember the uniqueness and also the beauty of the islands of the Bahamas. But tonight, it's all about our People to People program, where we're showcasing you the islands of the Bahamas in its truest form. I'm honored, I'm proud to celebrate the People to People program in its achievement of 50 years, and I'm certainly looking forward to another 50 more years to come.
For more tourism updates, visit Tourism Today or Bahamas.com. I'm Michael Miller, and this is Tourism Today.
Looking for your next career move? Well, the Port Charlotte Community Development Association is set to have a major job and career fair this Saturday, March 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., bringing together top employers from various industries. Whether you're a recent graduate or a seasoned professional or someone looking for a fresh start, this career and job fair promises opportunities to connect with recruiters and even land on-the-spot job interviews. In studio to tell us more about this event is Tamika Joaquin. Welcome, Tamika, to What's Trending.
Thank you.
So, Tamika, can you tell us about the upcoming job and career fair, what it's all about?
Well, Fort Charlotte Community Development Association, in collaboration with the Constituency Office, the Fort Charlotte Urban Renewal, and also the Department of Labor, we want you to unlock your potential. There's no excuse why anyone in the Bahamas now, especially Nassau, should not be working. So what we did, we've reached out to top employers such as the Defense Force, the National Youth Guard, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, we have MSC Ocean Club, we have Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, ASTO's group of companies, Maya's group of companies. So we've targeted different entities. You can get a job from being a corporate person, persons who are doing fast food. Also, we're going to have a pop-up health section with Dr. Sherilyn Dossett-Storr from Beyond Health. She's going to come and do some pressure checks, sign you up for NHI, the National Drug Plan. Persons who are in grade 12 or persons who are in college, we have a few colleges, local colleges will be there, 6 of them, inclusive of the National Training Agency, BTVI, Southern College, just to name a few.
Well, it sounds like a lot is going to be happening on that day. And you mentioned some of the employers or the industries that are going to be represented there. So tell us then, what can attendees, or who is this job fair designed for? Is it for just students, recent graduates, or those looking just simply for a career change?
This job fair is designed for all.
Okay.
All that you've mentioned and more. We have persons who, for me, they would apply to certain places and they'll be declined, but it's good to come out and have different options. So you have so many different options. If one person says no, I'm sure another will say yes. It's no reason why on Saturday you're not going to walk away hired.
And obviously you talked about some of the educational institutions that are going to be there. So does that mean that scholarship opportunities are going to be available?
Indeed.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so we're looking for 12th graders mainly. We'll be going into the schools as of tomorrow, which is Thursday, giving out flyers, speaking to guidance counselors to 12th graders, inviting them down for these scholarship opportunities, especially from Southern College and BTBI and BIBT in collaboration with DeVry. And we may be giving out a scholarship ourselves from the Fort Charlotte constituency.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like good stuff there. So what can attendees expect when they walk in?
First of all, a fun-filled day. A day of endless opportunities. I think they'll be wowed just by walking in and seeing so many employers. We're expecting a great crowd. We're preparing for about 500 persons. We're also giving out free meals, beverages all day. It's a comfortable atmosphere, but what I would tell persons to do is come prepared. Come prepared to be hired.
Yes, that was going to be my next question. What should job seekers bring with them to make the most out of this event?
Well, firstly, they should come professionally dressed.
That's the key point.
Bring as many resumes as you can. We have 23 vendors, so I'll say bring 30 resumes. You
Makes
never know, we
sense.
may have some pop-ups, right?
Right.
We also have PHA, I forgot to mention that. PHA will be in the house as well. So bring your resume, bring your references. Come prepared as if you're going to an actual business establishment to be hired on the spot there.
Well, that sounds great. And how important is it to have a polished resume? And obviously you said that person should bring several copies, but how important is it to ensure that everything is properly aligned and presented in that resume that they are going to be sharing with potential employers?
Well, for me, the way that I see it is the first impression is a lasting impression. So for persons who don't know how to prepare resumes, we'll have persons from the Department of Labor and also our team from Fort Charlotte assisting you with that. I'm not encouraging you not to print it though. Print it, but if you don't have the opportunity to do that, we will have printers there. We'll have persons there, like I said, to assist you with your resume writing and printing.
So you make it sound like you're making sure there ain't no excuse.
There's no excuse, trust me.
Just show up, it sounds like.
Show up.
Just be
come
ready.
Prepared, because we're prepared for you.
And just remind us again, where and when is this job and career fair taking place?
So this event is taking place this coming Saturday at the TG Global Primary School. That's off the pit road behind the Christie Park between the hours of 10 to 2.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tamika, for joining us on What's Trending today, and I'm sure it's going to be a great time, and I wish those potential job seekers or career changes all the success.
Thank you.
Well, you're watching What's Trending. There's more after the break.
Hi, I'm Brent Burrows, Vice President of Retail and Sales at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store. Not only do we guarantee the best prices on all your favorite building materials, but we're proud to offer the best delivery program in all of Nassau. Whether you buy one box of screws or a truckload of plywood, island-wide delivery is just $5. And for our Family Island customers, we're proud to offer complimentary drop-off to the mailboat of your choice. Visit us today at the CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road and check out our website to set up your next delivery.
Diet-friendly special.
For 3 exciting days, the National High School Track and Field Championships will take place at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium, and ZNS TV will bring you all the action. On Thursday, March 20th, tune in from 6 to 6:30 p.m. for the opening ceremony, and then starting at 8 p.m., join ZNS as young athletes from high schools all over the Bahamas go for gold in the finals. The future of Bahamian track and field. The National High School Track and Field Championships live on ZNS TV, March 20th to 22nd. Don't miss it.
For over half a century, we've been more than just an airline. We've been a bridge, connecting families, dreams, and memories across the islands and beyond. Behind every seat sold and every journey planned, there's a dedicated team committed to making air travel affordable and accessible to everyone. At Bahamas Air, we're not just building connections, we're building a safe and dependable airline where quality service is paramount and an excellent travel experience is our priority. Wherever you're going, we're here to take you there with care, with heart, and with the promise of unforgettable journeys. We are family, and just like family, we're committed to taking care of our own. Your Bahamas Air is our Bahamas Air. Because here at Bahamas Air, we don't just fly here, we live here.
Diet-friendly special.
Inspiring others through music has a powerful impact both for a musician and the listener. Music can provide emotional healing and connection and also spread messages of hope and change. Our guest today, Carl Johnson, is inspiring lives through words, music, and guidance. He's an author, motivational speaker, recording artist, and a counseling therapist. Take a listen to his music.
Shake the doubt away, leave your worries too. Fear don't hold me now, God's promises are true. You've got a strength you've yet to see. A mighty fire burns in you and me. Please don't cut your head, don't let the pain win. There's a love so wide, it will pull you in. Make it through, the storm will fade. You're a masterpiece that heaven made.
Well, today Carl is promoting his music, now trending on YouTube. Also joining us is Sharika Lawrence, better known as Sky Empowered, who collaborated with Carl on his music. We welcome you both to What's Trending.
Oh, how are you doing today? It's really a joy to be here.
I'm great, thank you so much. So let's begin with you, Carl. Tell us, what's the inspiration behind Shake It and Please Don't Cut Your Hand?
Well, I just like to just step back a little. Excuse me. You know, as a youngster growing up, I came to discover through various trials that music is where I found my solace. And over the years, I would sing, but I wasn't taking it seriously. And over a period of time, people started saying, you know what, you need to really focus on this and give it a shot. So that kind of led me into it. So it was born out of finding peace and joy through music. And basketball was there also. Now, you know, Ms. Swain, that we're living in stressful times. A lot of our people are hurting. And what I've come to realize that it's so interesting that whenever you are planning big things, very few persons ever believe in you. Mm-hmm. And what I've come to realize that in order to achieve your goal, you must learn to listen to persons, be loving, respectful, and what have you, but you learn to shake them off.
Right.
Shake off the negativity, shake off the doubters, and press through the trials. And many times when you make it is when they start celebrating.
Correct.
And so that is what led me to write that first song,
okay.
Shake It Off.
Awesome. So how has the feedback been to those releases?
Well, we just released them, you know, I think almost 2 weeks now, and we win the thousands on YouTube, 8,000 views, and we had 5,000 subscribers.
So you're happy with the feedback so far?
It's growing, but we still want to encourage persons to go and just log on and like and share, we would say.
Awesome. Well, Sky Empowered, share with us your involvement in this musical journey or venture.
Well, in the years of finding myself, you know, you really don't know who you are until you you experience a lot of hurt, and then you don't find a lot of people to help you along the way. So Mr. Johnson, I was introduced to him by a friend, and ever since then, he was encouraging me to sing when I wasn't, you know. I was trying to find my way in life, trying to find a career, but not knowing that I was being steered into my calling, which is singing. And his music was very inspiring to me, and it uplifted me. And so he said, come along with me on, you know, on this journey. And I stuck with him ever since, because a lot of people don't understand you're hurt. You know, they can't identify with what you go through. So when I saw that he did not wear a mask, you know, I went and I agreed, and I have enjoyed every moment, you know, on the journey.
Awesome. So Carl, tell us, was there a defining moment that made you realize the power of your voice and creativity?
I'm still on a journey, but I'm beginning to believe in myself a little bit more, I must be honest with you. It took a long time because I'm a stickler for perfection, and sometimes I'd be a little hard on myself. Not so much now, but I had to learn to, first of all, start listening to myself. I never used to listen to myself.
Yeah, you have to listen.
Yeah. So I had to start listening to myself, and I was able to pick up some areas to tweak here and there. And so it has been a journey, but I'm reaching the point now. Yeah.
So tell us then, what is the message that you want people to take away from your work?
That's a good question. Don't give up on yourself. Many times I've come to realize, many times you're gonna have to be willing to walk alone until persons are willing to walk with you. And if you don't believe in yourself, I mean, no one else really will. And so believe in yourself. You're not too old, because I'm a little over 40 now. So don't allow your age to stop you from pursuing your dreams.
So then tell us what's next for you in terms of your musical career.
Well, we are now in communication with persons to take it, not just through the Bahamas and the Caribbean, but we really want to stretch overseas a little bit more. We've done some stuff overseas, but we really want to take it to the world and get the message out there. We hear a lot of, good music out there, but there's some ones that are very, very discouraging. And so we want to spread the news that, hey, you could achieve your goals, go after it, don't give up, shake them off, and don't allow yourself to be discouraged.
And is that the same for you, Sky?
It's
Just
the
want to
same
keep
for me.
pushing?
I want to keep pushing, but I want to build a platform where people can feel comfortable in every age, you know. Since I started singing, I wanted to bring to the light of what's happening around us and inside of us, you know, because a lot of people suffer in silence. And, you know, we're really good at that, hiding it. And so music is like an international language, so everybody could relate to music.
That is true.
So I want to build a platform where people can be comfortable, you know, click on every social media, find a chat room, videos that, can
Yes,
bring them
uplift and empower.
Right.
Well, we thank you so much, Carl and Sky, for joining us on What's Trending today. All the best in your endeavors, and continue to do what you do to the best of your abilities.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. So What's Trending continues after the break. Stay with us.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exuma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass that along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
Earlier this week, I sat down with the Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources, the Honorable Jomo Campbell, who shared more with us about a number of scholarships made available for students interested in agriculture studies. He also updated us on the status of the Golden Yoke program. Take a listen. But you mentioned earlier the ministry has 20 scholarships that they want to provide to local students there who want to study agriculture. Can you elaborate on how these scholarships set up to strengthen the agricultural sector in the future?
So what we did is we made them aware that we took a goodie bag of 20 scholarships for students interested in expanding their education in the agriculture and marine science sectors through BAMSI. And as you would know, BAMSI has an excellent track record, and they have a very transparent merit and needs-based process by which they use to evaluate candidates for scholarship. You know, they look at academic prowess, leadership skills, passion, your commitment to the sectors, and just a general overall love for agriculture and marine sciences, because it really is truly a labor of love.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us, obviously you can't come here and not tell us about the Golden Yoke program. You mentioned obviously throughout the remainder of the week, you're going to be dropping off some layers on different islands, but what else is happening with the Golden Yoke program?
As it stands right now, the Golden Yoke program is on the move. You know, it would be remiss for me to sit here and indicate that we didn't have challenges with the rollout of the program. There were some challenges, some that we could not help. Certain acts of gods. There were certain hurricanes that impacted the transshipment of materials and equipment last year. What the Golden Yoke really is, it's the development of an industry, and our aim to reduce our food import bill. We have identified certain key produce, fruits, vegetables, etc., items that are imported, and the government wanted to see how we could directly channel into that by creating our own industry. And one of the major items we saw was eggs. We spend about $26.5 million on eggs annually. And so what better way to cut into a $1 billion food import bill than by creating our own egg industry? And that's really the raison d'etre of the Golden Yoke. So it's a step-by-step process with certain layer houses being built on Nassau and then expanded throughout the family of islands. And as it stands in Nassau at the moment, we've completed all of the legalities, because there was a lot of legal wrangling involved. You know, we were dealing with countries, several different countries from across the globe, very large multinational countries that have their own legal units, and so we had to make sure all of the black and white was ironed out first before we actually start to hit the ground running with this project. So we now have the site where the Golden Yoke is going to be developed, cleared by the Gladstone Road Agricultural Center. The fencing is going up because, as you would know, biosecurity is key for an initiative like this. And we are now, through the grace of God, at the stage where we can start the e-procurement process. Ministry of Works has already approved the necessary plans for the build-out of the layer houses. And additionally, you know, if you're going to have chickens, you're going to have to be able to feed them. And
they need to eat.
That's it. They have to eat in order to produce those eggs.
Right.
And so we now have a new feed mill in country on site at Gladstone Road for the first time in 40 years.
So I can see why you definitely say your ministry is on the move, and obviously with this egg crisis, we saw the partnership with Super Value as well that assisted in the cost or reducing the cost of eggs in country.
And in addition to that, we've rolled out our national layer program, where we have sourced 1,000 layers, and we're going to divide them up amongst 10 farmers throughout the islands of the Bahamas. We have persons like Mr. Greg Short from D&T Nursery, other farmers like Mr. Justin Taylor, who have contracted with us. And what they will do is we will provide them with the layers, provide them with feed material, provide them with coops, and in turn, they will provide us with eggs, the BAMSI, BAIC, at a set price that we can then resell to the general public at a very reasonable and affordable rate. And so we will rely on that. And at the same time, we look to boost our school population with eggs. We visited 2 weeks ago Donald Davis, several other schools, Ellen Coakley and Exuma. And so we want to supplement what we're doing with the private farmers with what the school programs have to offer as well, because in all things we want to keep our young persons involved.
And obviously, you know, feed has been an issue for some of the schools, and now with the feed mill now open and operational or constructed, that should ease that issue as well, I imagine.
That's the idea. The feed mill we have, as I indicated, is over 40 years old. And when it was purchased and erected, the goal for it was really to address the needs of the farmers at GRAC. But over the years, that has expanded to farmers nationwide. And obviously, it certainly just cannot sustain that burden. And so we intend to now supplement that with a brand new feed mill, which will be able to source all of the layers for the Golden Yoke. And we will look to transition the existing feed mill to other purposes throughout the length and breadth of the Bahamas.
Well, as you heard, the Agriculture Ministry has definitely a lot going on, and we expect to hear more about it in the coming weeks. Stay with us. There's more after the break.
If you would like to be a part of What's Trending, DM us on Instagram at What's Trending on ZNS.
Here at Immigration Care Service, you can trust us, especially if you have experienced issues or problems with the U.S. immigration at the borders. We'll do our best to provide options and solutions to immigration roadblocks, so travelers can continue visiting the U.S. and residents can continue living their lives in the U.S. without worries. The best part? Our services are affordable and accessible. Take the mystery, confusion, and fear out of your immigration concerns. Contact Immigration Care Service today.
For 3 exciting days, the National High School Track and Field Championships will take place at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium, and ZNS TV will bring you all the action. On Thursday, March 20th, tune in from 6 to 6:30 p.m. for the opening ceremony, and then starting at 8 p.m., join ZNS as young athletes from high schools all over the Bahamas go for gold in the finals. The future of Bahamian track and field. The National High School Track and Field Championships live on ZNS TV, March 20th to 22nd. Don't miss it.
That's all the time we have for today. Unfortunately, there will be no What's Trending tomorrow, Thursday, March 20th, due to our live coverage of the National High School Track and Field Championships starting at 6 p.m. So Monday, we will be back at 6 p.m. with a new slate of guests and content just for you. So definitely enjoy your weekend. See you later.
At the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, I'm Clint Watson, and this is ZNS.
This is the Bahamas Tonight. The Northern Edition has a look at stories making news tonight. An activist calls for the Freeport Chief Counselor to step down following disparaging remarks on Bahamian women. Also, hundreds impacted by internet and cable outage due to brush fires in Fortune Bay. And a serious accident near Bahama Rock results in traffic delays.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
We deserve respect. Even his wife deserves respect. For the accusation that he throws out, it hurts.
Misogynistic and an insult to Bahamian women everywhere. Past statements are coming back to haunt the City of Freeport Council Chief Counselor, as an activist is now demanding he step aside to restore the integrity of the council. That call coming in the midst of resurfaced voice notes that some say do not sit well with them. Cleopatra Murphy has tonight's top story.
We deserve respect. Even his wife deserves respect. For the accusation that he throws out, it hurts. Many women want to come out, but I'm standing in the gap.
Incensed by disparaging remarks made toward Bahamian women by City of Freeport Council Chief Counselor Kendall Culmer II several years ago, Gloria Munro was one of several participating in a small protest demanding his resignation. The remarks in question:
I just realized something. That's an educated woman who just got her college degree, and half of y'all barely graduate high school. So that woman of Haitian descent, smarter than y'all friggin' raw-born Bahamian woman.
Culmer were aimed at individuals attacking his wife. However, during the protests that nearly deteriorated and saw police called in following a heated verbal confrontation between its organizer, activist Richard Johnson, and several Culmer supporters, Johnson, who called the remarks an affront to Bahamian women, insisted Culmer is unsuited for public office.
But it's also sad when he would have played to apologize. In his notes, he would have said that he was asked to. So that says to me that if he was not asked to apologize, then he would have never did it, all right? We have to respect Bahamian women in this country. We have to show them dignity and respect.
Culmer has abandoned his pursuit of being selected as an F&M candidate in the next general election at the behest of F&M leader Michael Pintard, also resigning from the Marco City Association. But like Johnson, PLP Senator James Turner insists he must resign.
No one has the right to speak to Bahamian women or about Bahamian women the way that he did. That was vile, it was rude, it was nasty, even if it was intended for a specific set of Bahamian women.
As a Bahamian woman first and foremost, Natasha Darville says she does not care when Culmer's comments were made, but that Bahamian women were disparaged.
Bahamian women deserve more. We went to school, we educated ourselves. Even those that didn't go to get tertiary education, they are still a part of this country, a part of the fiber of this country.
Even as persons called for Culmer's resignation, there was still someone who defended him, saying that his remarks made in the heat of the moment should be forgiven.
He has resigned his positions in the F&M. He is fully aware of the mistakes he made, and he is contrite. He is saddened by this. I mean, does the public understand how much of his life has been affected? How many sleepless nights he must have?
Culmer himself declined to give an interview, stating only that he regretted the remarks, and the apology he posted to Facebook sums up his feelings. In that post, Culmer says 4 years ago, in response to verbal attacks against his girlfriend, now wife, he made an unacceptable and hurtful remark that, while targeted at 4 women, was disrespectful to them and all Bahamian women. He accused the PLP of weaponizing his past mistakes, but insists what he said was wrong then and wrong now. He has worked towards addressing those mistakes, and what he said does not reflect his view of the women in his life or in the country. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
Thanks, Cleo. Switching gears now, this past Monday, brush fires threatened a number of homes, forcing residents and fire officials to leap into action in tandem to combat the blazes. Happily, we can report the blaze has been ousted with no harm done to homes. Parliamentarians weighed in on the ordeal during the House of Assembly, and our Shane Stubbs joins us live to tell us about those proceedings. Shane.
Well, Rumiko, today looks much better than Monday as most of the fire has basically been contained. Of course, it's been a very chaotic few days as residents fought to protect their properties as brush fires threatened homes here on Midshipman Road and the adjacent areas. Now, during House proceedings, the Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama, Kwesi Thompson, commended firefighters and volunteers for their bravery over the past few days, while the Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honourable Ginger Moxie, provided an update on fire resources here on the island. Just this past Monday, neighborhoods have been transformed into fire battlegrounds, with residents protecting their homes with buckets and hoses as flames surrounded various properties. During this morning's proceedings in the House of Assembly, the Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama, Kwesi Thompson, commended the efforts of firefighters who stayed resilient throughout the ordeal.
When others may have been intimidated or scared or hesitant, they're the ones who run towards the danger and run towards the fire to help. So smoke suffocating, but the fire department did not back down. And I have to commend each of the officers.
Thompson, who experienced first-hand efforts to keep flames at bay, recounted cries for assistance.
One resident said, it's just moving so fast. Another one said, you could hardly hold it back. Another asked, where are the trucks?
Meanwhile, outside of Parliament, the Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honourable Ginger Moxie, spoke with reporters on efforts to combat the brush fire.
We know that the Royal Bahamas Police Force, they've been working diligently to ensure that the fires are under control. I speak regularly to the Assistant Commissioner of Police, James, who's been on top of it. We have the resources on the ground. There are 2 fire trucks that are with the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and we also have fire trucks from partners throughout Grand Bahama Island who normally come to the rescue in times like this. We are working aggressively to ensure that everything stays under control.
Now, fire officials are confirming that the worst is behind for the residents of this community. However, they do have crews on standby in the event anything escalates. But for now, they do caution motorists traversing the area to do so with caution in the event of low visibility. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shane Stubbs. Back to you, Rumiko.
Thanks, Shane. Certainly good news there. Well, residents in parts of Grand Bahama have been left without internet and cable services after brush fires along Midshipman and East Sunrise Highway damaged critical infrastructure. Rev Cable Bahamas officials confirmed that multiple areas are affected. The company's technical manager for outside plant engineering in the Northern Bahamas explains the cause of the delays in restoration and notes that repair crews have now been given the green light to begin work. Here's that report.
We had some 800 plus customers affected, including, like I said, the hotel, Club Fortuna.
Rev Cable Bahamas customers in Grand Bahama have been experiencing internet service and cable disruptions due to recent brush fires in the Midshipman and East Sunrise Highway areas. The technical manager for outside plant engineering in the Northern Bahamas, Chris Thompson, confirms that the fires damaged critical infrastructure, resulting in outages affecting multiple communities.
The effect that we experiencing right now on Sunrise, that's basically just coax cable. But the outage that we facing on the Fortune Bay, Fortune Key, and all those areas surrounding Club Fortuna and those, they're being affected by a fiber trunk cable that was actually burnt and severed on that street, Midshipman.
The technical manager further explains that delays in service restoration were due to safety concerns and clearance needed to access the damaged areas. However, as of Wednesday morning, REV teams have received the go-ahead to begin repairs, launching an all-out effort to restore connectivity to affected customers.
Okay, presently we have all hands on deck. We have multiple teams out there. We're replacing all those damaged fibers and the coax as we speak, and we expect to have at least 90% of those up by the end of today.
REV officials assure customers that they are fully aware of all affected areas and are actively working to restore service as quickly as possible. Customers do not need to call in to report outages, as crews have already been dispatched to the impacted locations. In other news, it was a traffic accident that could have turned deadly. The incident occurring after 3 p.m. Wednesday, but luckily for those involved, that was not the case. Cleopatra Murphy has the details.
It was a cataclysmic scene on the Warren J. Lavarty Highway after a collision between an Infiniti Jeep and a trailer head left one of those vehicles in flames and a utility pole suspended in the air.
Initial investigation suggests that the Jeep was heading west and the truck was heading east, when somehow both of them collided. We're in the initial stages of this investigation, and as we get more information, we'll be able to update you.
Debris from the collision was strewn across the road, while flames still burned from the broken utility pole. Shortly after ZNS arrived on the scene, an ambulance left with the occupants of those vehicles, both between the ages of 40 and 60. Officer in charge of the Police Traffic Division, Superintendent Christopher Farquharson, was on the scene.
Both drivers, the male who was driving the truck, received some injuries that was not too serious, and the female who was driving the Jeep, she received some injuries that are considered minor.
It is too soon to say if speed was a factor, but Farquharson is calling on the public to drive with care behind the wheels.
We always encourage people when driving the roads, please do so with due care and attention. Drive within the speed limit and do not be distracted while driving.
The collision also knocked out power for many 8 Mile Rock residents. Director of Operations for the Grand Bahama Power Company, Jared Moss, explains the work ahead.
We're in the process of assessing our damages. However, we do have a feeder road that's servicing the larger part of the 8 Mile Rock community. Until we're able to get access to the area, and the police have done their initial investigation and assessments, then we'll be able to kind of begin work. We estimate roughly anywhere from 2 to 3 hours of work in order to complete these repairs.
For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
And still to come.
A push to boost local egg production. That story, sports, and more when we return.
Step into a life of luxury and convenience with the Commonwealth Bank Platinum Card. From earning premium cashback rewards on every dollar spent, to enjoying comprehensive travel insurance. Shop with confidence, knowing your purchases are protected. Our Platinum Concierge service turns your requests into reality, wherever life takes you. Let the Commonwealth Bank Platinum Card be your passport to exceptional experiences. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Come on down and see what Dolly Madison has in store for you. Renovate and rejuvenate at Dolly Madison.
Calling all local musicians. Celebration Key is holding auditions on March 27th. Showcase your talent and bring the rhythm of the Bahamas to the world. Register today and be part of the magic. Get ready for the Freeport Business Expo Tourism Edition 2, happening May 1st and 2nd. Network, explore, and grow with top industry leaders. Register today at freeportbusinessexpo.com. The night before, a gripping stage production by S.L. Shepard live at the Regency Theater, March 27th to the 29th at 8 p.m. with a special matinee on March 30th at 5 p.m. Tickets are $30, available at Imagine Graphics, the 17th shop at the Gregory's Fine Foods. Celebration Key presents the Lifeguard Swim Test in Freeport. Join the action at the YMCA on March 27th at 9 a.m. Walk-in registrations are welcome. Scan the code to register today and take the first step toward becoming a lifeguard.
It's the second annual Turks and Caicos. Come go with me. Musical and Jazz Festival, June 5th through 9th. Book your airline tickets now with BritishAirways.com, BahamasAir.com, or InterCaribbean.com.
Your number one team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
Welcome back. The Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Abaco Chamber of Commerce, along with government officials, hosting a town hall meeting in Abaco. The meeting aim is to ensure that all parties are aligned with goals on moving Abaco forward. Our Jolanda Thompson is on that Northern Island and attending that town hall meeting. Jolanda, what's the latest?
That's right, Romiko. We're here at Friendship Tabernacle Church of God, where the Abaco Chamber of Commerce is having a town hall meeting. The event includes executives from the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, Consumer Protection, and Employee Confederation. I have with me the president of the Abaco Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Chantel Sands. Ms. Sands, please tell me, what is the focus of tonight?
Well, first of all, we find that the town halls are a valuable tool for the Abaco Chamber of Commerce to foster open dialogue with the business community and the key stakeholders. And so tonight it's about sharing information from our panel guests and making sure that the business community, is fully aware of our objectives and help the Abaco Chamber of Commerce also align with the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employees Confederation.
Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing more tonight. I also have with me Senator Barry Griffin from Employee Confederation. Senator Griffin, tell me, how important is his partnership with the government?
Yes, so Senator Barry Griffin, the chairman of the Bahamas Trade Commission, and we're here partnering with the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and the Abaco Chamber of Commerce. Everything that we do is towards businesses, helping businesses succeed in this economy, and so we're just bringing valuable information for the members of the chamber, but also consumers about how they can utilize the government and our resources to help to advance their business. The government is busy doing a national trade diversification program where we're encouraging businesses to supply goods and get goods from all over the world. We're also about to introduce competition legislation, which will help small businesses succeed in this environment. So we're happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Senator. Well, there you have it. Stay tuned. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm live in Abaco. Romiko, back to you.
Thanks so much, Yolanda. Well, the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources has launched a critical mission to boost local egg production in response to escalating prices and increasing demand, largely driven by the ongoing avian flu crisis. This initiative aims to strengthen the country's food security and reduce reliance on imports. Raven Davis has more in this report.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources embarking on a fact-finding mission aimed at bolstering local egg production in response to escalating prices and surging demand, largely driven by the avian flu crisis.
It's an expansion of our national layer program and to add another component to our golden yolk program. We know that Mr. Vardulis was a very heavy hitter in the egg industry, And there was some communication or conversation had between him and our offices. Are we looking to possibly partner with him?
Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Agriculture, Neil Campbell, leading the delegation towards Sunshine Farms and Bahamas Poultry, two companies impacted by successive hurricanes. Supervisor of Grand Bahama Foods, Nicholas Vardulis, represented the companies as officials from various agencies assessed the facilities. While the buildings are intact, some equipment may need repairs.
Based on the Agriculture and Manufacturers Act, we know that a lot can be done in the soonest possible time with a lot of funds saved on both sides, the government side and for the local producer himself. There's a lot being said recently reference to egg production with the cost and everything else, and it's the ministry's intention to reduce the price of eggs on every single island. So we have the school program ongoing here. We have the buyback program here.
At full capacity, Sunshine Farms could produce some 700 cases of eggs daily, according to Vardulis, who suggests that with high demand, a potential partnership could benefit the island.
You get a fresh product at a cheaper price than you pay to import it. You cut out every middleman, heavy customs fees, any tariffs, all of that stuff is taken out of the equation when you produce the product yourself.
Vardulis also emphasizing that while a cleanup and rebuild are necessary, getting the business back online is feasible.
Simple as rebuilding new cages and implementing a new automated system would be as far as you really need to go in terms of getting that up in operation. Once you get to a certain point where you could start seeing product on the ground, it brings forward incentive for you to then go ahead and renovate or rebuild whatever structure that you're interested in expanding into for your future.
While noting that the facilities are in satisfactory condition, Campbell says once negotiations have ended, the project could be operational within 6 to 8 months. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Raven Davis.
That's great news. We certainly need those eggs back at a lower price. Jay, what's coming up in sports?
Well, it is track and field season in high school. Track and field nationals happening in New Providence, and also the Tabernacle Falcons winning another championship this time again, Rumiko.
Falcons on the move. That's coming up next, but first, a check on the local weather forecast.
Tonight's weather forecast is brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
'Cause it's so beautiful.
Celebration Key presents the Lifeguard Swim Test in Freeport. Join the action at the YMCA on March 27th at 9 a.m. Walk-in registrations are welcome. Scan the code to register today and take the first step toward becoming a lifeguard.
It's the second annual Turks and Caicos Come Go With Me Musical and Jazz Festival, June 5th through 9th. Book your hotel now at Ports of Call Resort, Turks and Caicos. Daily breakfast included. Short distance from the event. Email now. Reservations at portsofcallresort.com using discount code CONCERT15.
The She's Rocking It conference is happening March 23rd at 2:30 p.m. at Old Bahama Bay Resort and Yacht Harbor. Celebrate the journey of exceptional women with keynote speakers, inspiring testimonies, and more. Tickets are $65, lunch included. Get yours today.
Journey to a serene oasis. Relax. Rejuvenate. Renew. Welcome to Renew Day Spa. For appointments, call 352-RENU.
What is Business Fit? Business Fit is a group health insurance package offered by BAF Financial. What are some of the benefits of Business Fit? No deductible, dental and vision care, hospital room and board, surgical treatment, labs, medication and drugs, maternity, doctors, clinics, specialist visits, chemotherapy and radiation treatment, air and ground ambulance, and preventative care. Business Fit, offered by BAF Financial.
Good evening, ladies and gents. I'm Jay Philippe, and welcome to Sports Topping Sports. The Tabernacle Falcons winning another title, this time in the Under-17 Boys Championship, sweeping the Sunland Stingers in 2 straight games. Sean Cornell was named MVP.
No, just told guys, let's focus on the defensive end, you know. Let's not focus on whether or not we could get shots to fall. If we could create turnovers and get out of transition, we was confident we could come out with the win.
I feel like we did good today, but we didn't play at our max potential. I was extremely confident. From before the game, I already know it's going to be a good game. So I just was confident in my shot today. I feel more comfortable, feel more easy on the 7th game.
Next in sports, results from the Grand Bahama Darts League with recent play at Crazy Joe's location. In A-League play, Mama Jack Shorters defeated Cleveland Beach Bar Brawlers 8-3. Rabbit Hole Eliminators also got the win versus Zorbas Destroyers 8-3. Now in B-League, Liquid Plus Kings edge out Crazy Joe's Rebels 7-4, and Bahama Mama Stars and Round the Corner Sharks game was postponed. Also in sports, the Grand Bahama Basketball Association playoff schedule is now set. The top-seeded 242 Elite will take on Cornet Shipping. In the 3-6 seed, ODS Fugees will go up against Pizza Hut. New Era Gym Rats will take on the Police Enforcers. And the 4-5 seed, the 8 Mount Rock Legends, will take on Dudley Saints. And finally in sports, high school track and field nationals is set to begin this Thursday through Saturday in the nation's capital. BMES will be taking 21 athletes to compete.
Very confident going into nationals, very proud of the team. We have quite a few gold medalists. We had some really good results from the local meet last week. And so going into nationals is going to be very exciting. Preparation is key. You know, just reminding the athletes to be focused, remain focused, and remember the training. Remember the preparation, and that alone should give them the confidence that they need to go all the way and give their best.
Also in sport, it is Midnight Madness in the NCAA March Madness tournament. Coach Yo and her Old Miss Lady Rebels will be in action this weekend, and VJ from Bimini will be in action for Baylor University. Also, it is Police Month, and the Royal Bahamas Police Force will be hosting their basketball tournament this Saturday at 2 p.m. Ladies and gents, that's your quick check on sports. I'm Jay Philippe. As always, be blessed.
Celebration Key presents the Lifeguard Swim Test in Freeport. Join the action at the YMCA on March 27th at 9 a.m. Walk-in registrations are welcome. Scan the code to register today and take the first step toward becoming a lifeguard.
Here at Freeport Decorators, we have hundreds of products for you to choose from. Whether you're in the market for trophies, plaques, rubber stamps, corporate signs, any kind of interior signage, stamps, or seals, we're your one-stop shop. We feature glass, acrylic, crystal awards for every occasion. We build all the trophies here on site. Looking for a gift item? We feature pens, key rings, mugs, tumblers, barbecue tools, even bamboo cutting boards. Have something already? Bring it on down. Let us see if we can print that special something on it for you. Need a headstone? Memorialize the memory of your loved one with a beautifully lasered granite marker. Our store hours are Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. We focus on customization. So if you have an idea or a new concept, bring it on down or call us at 352-5557 or even WhatsApp your idea to us at 646-0777, and we will do our best to make your awards and recognition ideas a reality.
Your #1 team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
And that concludes the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. On behalf of the entire news team here in the North, I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thanks so much for watching. Here's a live look at the Bahamas Tonight coming your way next.
St. Watson has been the trusted voice of journalism for over 2 decades. He is your first choice for hard-hitting discussions, your best choice for current affairs issues and investigative journalism. It's time to start the journey of relentless journalism. It's time to start the journey of facts over fiction. It's time for the rundown with Clint Watson here on ZNS, where only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
We're coming for y'all again.
Are you ready for the hardest sports show on the market? It's called The Timeout. Sundays on the ZNS television network. In our first show, 4 decades of sports in the country.
Mario.
Hey Dale, what's going on?
Have you seen ZNS new digital platforms?
No. Let me go check it out.
Good day, Bahamas. I'm Devontae Hanna, and this is ZNS Digital,
where we cater to your news and entertainment needs.
Are you a foodie? I thought so. Then look out for Digital Bites.
Shining a light on Bahamians and the good that they do, ZNS Digital is home to the sunshine room.
Keeping up with the latest trends, our original content will keep you entertained.
Yeah, that's cool.
But have you seen the new website?
No, I didn't see it. Let me go look.
We're still your most trusted source for news and information.
That's ZNS Digital?
Yeah, that's ZNS Digital, the people station in your pocket.
At the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium, I'm Marcellus Hall. This is ZNS.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, the government takes a legislative approach to addressing attrition within the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Tune in to hear what that entails. Also, gambling's impact on mental health and what the numbers reveal about male residents of the Bahamas Department of Corrections. And understanding trends and developments in the account opening process as officials look to foster transparency and efficiency within the financial sector. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. Gambling addiction emerging as a critical public health issue here in the Bahamas, with research indicating a strong connection between the problem and suicide. For instance, studies suggest individuals struggling with gambling addiction are significantly more likely to experience suicidal thoughts or attempts, raising concerns about mental health support and addiction treatment in the country. Diane Dorset takes the story from here.
When it comes to gambling, you would ever and never ever hear somebody really willingly admit to it. That's why they call it a silent addiction. People stay hidden, all right, because the stigma that is attached. They have it as you're irresponsible, you're worthless, you should know better. All of those sort of things. And I say I can speak personally because I am a recovering person from gambling addiction, and it's now 15 years.
Gambling. Widespread in the Bahamas, with gaming houses and online betting platforms making the ever-popular pastime that more accessible. But for some, what starts as entertainment quickly spirals into addiction, leading to devastating financial loss, strained relationships, and in some cases, even suicidal thoughts. A study conducted by the Institute of Public Health in Ireland found that between 22 and 81% of problem gamblers in treatment report suicidal ideation, while up to 30% have attempted suicide. Research also suggests that gambling addicts are 15 times more likely to die by suicide than the general population. While the motives have not been made public, there have been a rash of suicides and attempts both here in the capital and Grand Bahama. The majority of the victims, males.
We estimated roughly there would have been 2 males for about maybe every 15 male that came in who was struggling with both a substance disorder as well as a gambling disorder as well. So I be honest with you, I think the number is much higher. A lot of people mask their gambling use, all right, and the disorder in particular.
In the Bahamas, medical professionals say more attention needs to be given to gambling addiction as a mental health disorder. Dr. Sean Knowles, medical officer at the Bahamas Department of Corrections, says the topic need not be taboo.
It also stresses the importance of us being our brothers and sisters keepers. And I'm thankful, for example, colleagues, co-workers who would have brought persons to me because they recognize he or she is not their normal self. They're withdrawn, they look tired, they appear, be crying all of the time. That's when you recognize that, hey, someone is going through something, let me take action to help them. And at the end of the day, we can reduce the amount of mental health disorders that we're seeing and give people a fighting chance at life.
Senior Nursing Officer Dean, 17 to 20% of persons who commit suicide have a substance or gambling disorder. Anyone seeking assistance is urged to contact their hotline at 242-323-2763. Makushla.
Well, thanks, Diane. Over in Eleuthera, police are trying to piece together the how and why behind a gruesome discovery in Governor's Harbor. Authorities providing very little information, save to say that a man's body was found in the area of Bahamas Power and Light this morning. The matter's under active investigations. Well, in other news, the Free National Movement's demanding answers from the government amid a major shakeup at the Parliamentary Registration Department, where the acting commissioner has been reassigned. And this on the heels of the department's criticism over in the recent local government elections. Corval Pyfrom has more.
Opposition leader Michael Pintard concerned about the news of the abrupt departure of acting Parliamentary Commissioner Arthur Taylor. Concerned mostly, Pintard says, by the government's silence on the issue.
And so it is my concern that they have moved this gentleman without explaining to the public in a fulsome way what are the underlying issues.
Taylor and his team at the Parliamentary Registration Department have come under fire for what some consider their botched handling of the recent local government elections. The process, hammers critics, was riddled by delays, ballot errors, and many missteps.
We need a fulsome explanation and a briefing, preferably from the Prime Minister. Worst case scenario, the minister in charge of that area.
As for that fulsome explanation demanded by the opposition, National Security Minister Wayne Munro, who is the minister responsible for the Parliamentary Registration Department, was careful with his response, making his remarks most notable for what he did not say.
I was away, returned Monday. When I returned, I was advised that Acting Commissioner Taylor had sought and been granted leave to proceed on vacation leave. I've been advised that he had written not to me, but to OPM asking for a transfer. And in due course, no doubt the documents will be forwarded to the ministry and we'll have a look at them.
And this was as much as the minister was prepared to say on the matter. As for whether he was sad to see Taylor leave and his handling of those elections,
you can always do a better job at everything. There are no sacred cows in this country. No organization should rise and fall and become disastrous if one person exits. If you find yourself in that position, you have failed. And so just as commissioners of police have changed, commissioners of correction has changed, it would appear that there's going to be a change in the commissioner, the parliamentary commissioner.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corval Pyfrom.
Well, Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, is looking to put to rest concerns arising from the recent U.S. inquiry into the Cuban medical mission program, which the Trump administration charges facilitates human trafficking and other labor and human rights violations. The U.S. has threatened visa sanctions against foreign government officials that it believes is complicit in this alleged practice. Well, yesterday, America's top diplomat here clarified that there was no evidence to suggest the Bahamas was anyway involved in this activity. She further stressed that no Bahamian official was being targeted. Minister Mitchell today welcomed the vindication, but underscored the importance of conducting a thorough review of the Cuban labor exchange program in this country.
We responded yesterday formally to the démarche, and sometime within the next week or so, we expect to invite them over to the ministry, foreign ministry, and all of the constituent ministries will provide a comprehensive briefing about what the labor practices are. and they will, I believe, support what our principal position is there's no violation of the labor norms.
Well, now to the proceedings of the House of Assembly, where the government advanced legislation to address attrition issues and inequities in the system as it relates to the retirement of Marines on the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Government leader in the lower chamber and National Security Minister, the Honorable Wayne Munro, opened debate on the Defense Amendment Bill in the House of Assembly Wednesday. He noted that the legislation will provide for the size of the Defense Force to be increased to optimal levels, particularly given the broad scope of its responsibilities, which include protecting the country's borders and assisting in times of disaster.
A number of requests for Marines of various years of service to retire from the service. I'm confronted with any number of Marines who are submitted to me for warrant punishment for dismissal from the force. Many who, because of injury, leave the service. And so, Madam Speaker, this, as I say, is a very incremental step to address attrition, and that is simply, when I next look at this list, Madam Speaker, after this bill is passed, the retirement age of every Marine, if they wish to, should say 60.
The National Security Minister added that in order to continue serving on the Defense Force, Marines and officers must pass a fitness test with fitness requirements.
And so the public can rest assured that the only military that we have in this country, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, is manned with men and women who are not only committed to the service, but fit for the service.
While the bill securing the opposition's support, however, its leader, Michael Pintard, charged that some Defense Force officers are still waiting for their outstanding issues to be sorted out.
If he has names of officers who are waiting to be resolved in terms of proper calculation of their pensions, which is something this administration took on, that they just were content to sit and watch. If he has names, he can certainly provide them.
Around 250 Defense Force officers are still affected by pension and gratuity payments for roughly, Madam Speaker, just under $1 million. As I said earlier, efforts have been made, but monies are still outstanding.
Coming up, runway upgrades continue at LPIA. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. There's more news in a moment.
Step into a life of luxury and convenience with the Commonwealth Bank Platinum Card. From earning premium cashback rewards on every dollar spent to enjoying comprehensive travel insurance, shop with confidence, knowing your purchases are protected. Our Platinum Concierge service turns your requests into reality, wherever life takes you. Let the Commonwealth Bank Platinum Card be your passport to exceptional experiences. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
This one? No. Hey, look, KFC has an incredible promo.
I already had that for lunch.
Crunch your hunger cravings and satisfy the whole family with KFC bucket meals starting at just $20. Get freshly prepared golden fried chicken, buttery biscuits, and add your favorite large sides. Bucket meals starting at just $20. KFC, finger licking good.
Experience the difference with BTC's fixed services. Whether you're working from home or enjoying family time, BTC ensures you're always in touch with the people and moments that count. BTC isn't just a service, it's a lifestyle. Stay connected, stay inspired, and live your best life. BTC.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you. at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
At BOB, we take pride in our business banking.
I chose Bank of the Bahamas because it was a Bahamian-owned bank. The bank has certainly supported our evolution through overdraft facilities, purchasing of equipment, facilitating of salary payments, and I really believe that Bank of the Bahamas is able to help in the development of the local economy. I would truly recommend the services at Bank of the Bahamas.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, where safety is first.
You're looking at a shot there of the Queen's Staircase, a walkway of 66 steps carved out of solid limestone rock, opened back in 1794. The popular tourist location located at the Fort Finn Castle Historic Complex next to Princess Margaret Hospital. Welcome back. Residents to soon reap the benefits of solar power with the help of independent power producers. Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis making the announcement Monday during the signing of a power purchasing agreement with Madeline Solar Power Limited, which will construct a 20-megawatt system at the Blue Hills Power Complex.
Across our Family Islands, independent power producers are laying the foundation for a cleaner, more independent energy future for our Family Islands. From Abaco to Andros, Ilusura to Exuma, Long Island to San Salvador, the shift is happening with tailor-made solutions for each island.
The partnership between the government and the Bahamian company will last 15 years, with the construction phase to be completed within 18 months. Energy Minister, the Honorable JoBeth Colby Davis, expressing hope that the new solar grids will turn into more savings on electricity. According to the minister, here's how the PPAs work, the benefit for all stakeholders, and the next course of action for Madeline.
Build, operate, transfer. So they're going to build the facilities. They're going to assist with training BPL teams to operate in the renewable field. It's going to be new for BPL, so we're excited about them getting that training. And then at the end of that period that they serve as independent power producers, it'll be transferred as to BPL. It's going to be right here at Blue Hills Power Station, so some of the land just further back. That is the utility scale for Madeline. And then we have two other locations. If you recall from the request for proposal, one location was further at Coral Harbor, and the next one is closest to CV Bethel.
Well, major upgrades continue on runway 1432 at Lyndon Pinling International Airport, a critical part of the airport's long-term infrastructure improvements to enhance safety and operational efficiency. There is, however, a downside. LPIA officials acknowledge that a project of this scope and scale can mean delays for travelers during peak operational periods. Furthermore, impacting wait times, weather, as well as large commercial and small private aircraft using the airport infrastructure. On the flip side, the work is critical to enhancing again LPIA's operations and future growth. Well, the argument's not new, but one that nonetheless requires addressing. There must be some ease and efficiency in opening an account here in the Bahamas. Improvement, though, requires targeting, tracking, and acting to ensure due diligence. The whole thinking behind a central bank survey highlighting why some applications are either declined or withdrawn. Listen in.
A total of 28,153 bank deposit applications were received during the first half of 2024, and of this total, approximately 99.1% were processed, the vast majority resident applications. Now, in terms of type, bank account opening surveys found that most requests were made for savings accounts, followed by demand deposits and fixed placements. On outcomes, 98.7% of resident applications were approved, 0.4% of them denied. A remaining 0.2% were still pending review at the end of December 2024, and 0.7% of requests were still considered incomplete. Delays in processing were said to be due to incomplete applications, but that's not to say there aren't gaps. The survey found that some banks still do not comprehensively track the average age of incomplete applications. We can also tell you that of the 6 banks surveyed, 4 reported that the volume of applications had unfavorably affected processing speed and efficiency. When asked what strategies had been deployed to increase the speed of account processing during the review period, most banks say they had placed more emphasis on automating the account opening process, tracking key performance indicators, publishing their Know Your Customer or KYC documentation requirements, and monitoring account application status and customer queries electronically. The survey, conducted semi-annually, tracks key indicators related to the process of opening deposit accounts at commercial banks.
Job fairs at high schools, quite common. Not so much entrepreneurship exhibitions, but a group of junior high students here in the capital seem sold on the idea of working for themselves. Our Danielle Dean reports.
A taste of the future with budding business owners at the forefront. During an entrepreneurship exhibition at LW Young Junior High School this morning, the students were encouraged to be their own boss.
Well, you know, you've got 9 million people passing through our doors, our gates every year, and we have them saying they need something to take away or they need something to do. So we can offer either a good or a service. And the idea is to get them, the children, to think about new ideas.
Area MP, the Honourable Fred Mitchell, assured the 7th to 9th graders the country is pregnant with money-making potential. They need only figure out what they want to sell. Some already, though, have that part figured out.
Cufflinks, there's necklaces, magnets, keychains.
Each one made from coconuts. The 13-year-old was curiously attracted to the entrepreneurship elective at her school and has not regretted it since.
Normally, not a lot of children are able to have the opportunities we have here at this fine institution at LW Young. And I honestly just wanted to explore it, see if it's something I want to do when I'm older. I also want to work in the medical field. So I want to work in the medical field and have a little something on the side with entrepreneurship.
Giselle, not the only one who plans to strike a balance between employment and entrepreneurship.
Originally, I want to be a teacher, but that could be like a side job.
I originally wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Shania's motivation, not wanting to make minimum wage. Jaya Rafanan, a 12-year-old soap maker, thinks differently.
Create money for my family and I could take care of them no matter what.
Reporting for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Danielle Dean.
A great job there, Danielle. Stay with us. The beat is after the break.
Do you ever just want more? But wait, there's Marco's! Introducing the More Marco's menu, packed with your favorites starting at just $6. Like our warm, golden baked cheesy bread, crispy stuffed risotto. How about a hot, fresh, medium one-topping pizza, subs, calzones, pizza bowls, and more. Starting at just $6. Certain restrictions apply. More variety, more value, more Marco. Order today at Marco's Pizza, Bahamas.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this brings great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community, also help with the education of our kids in this community, and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Stripe and the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that helps you to fuel up faster. Here's how it works. Download the app on the App Store or get it on Google Play and create your profile with payment details. Visit your nearest Shell station, open the app, scan the pump's QR code, select your payment amount, and begin fueling. Say goodbye to cash and cards because the Focal Smart Pass offers secure and convenient payment options right at your fingertips. Download Focal Smart Pass now and fuel up faster today.
This portion of the news is brought to you by 700 Wines and Spirits, bringing celebration across the nation.
With stagnant wages and surging real estate prices and attorneys offering up some advice to renters feeling the squeeze. Desmond Saunders has more in tonight's Consumer Choice Report.
I see that we had an amendment in 2006. However, it does not fully reflect the state of affairs at this time, the current economic situation that many Bahamians find themselves in. So renters may be faced with rising rent costs, whereas the landlords are faced with property taxes now that the properties are now being required to be registered and real property tax bills have been coming out, as well as mortgages that they may need to be covering with those rent fees.
The Rent Control Act governs how much rent could be charged for certain dwelling houses whose value does not exceed a specified threshold. Two-bedroom apartments once rented for $500 now range between $1,500 and $2,000.
Well, specifically looking at the valuation of properties and the limit in which, or the amount set as the limit for which landlords can charge for those premises. So we do have a number of older homes. Is the value still the same, or because there's such a shortage of property or rental properties now, does it mean now because of the demand, the value of those properties are now increased, whereas the building itself is not being brought up to current standard or not being properly maintained?
With growing concerns over affordability for Bahamian families, attorney Wendon Miller-Frazier making these recommendations for tenants.
With regard to the rental costs and renters and landlords currently in agreement, make sure that whenever you're looking at rising rent costs, you have adequate notice from your landlord before you go ahead and pay those funds. You may be putting yourself at a disadvantage by satisfying that fund.
Understanding your rights as a renter is key. Seek proper advice from an attorney if necessary and document all communications between landlord and tenant. Desmond Saunders, The Bahamas Tonight.
Well, for the lighter side of things, we're going to toss things over now to LaDawn and Marlena, who are going to give us a sneak peek of what's coming up in Access Now.
Well, Makosla, have you ever heard of coconut salad?
No, but sounds pretty interesting. I think I'd like it.
Well, there's going to be a coconut fest in the square tomorrow, and that's where you can check it out. I want to ask Marlena, do you like coconuts?
Not if I know what's good for me, because I think I might be the only Bahamian who's allergic to them, so I'm going to stay a respectable distance away from that tomorrow.
Yeah, you stay away. Well, we'll hear more about the Coconut Festival and other great stories when the National Report returns.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Folk Call Smart Pass, the smart way to pay at the pump.
Diet-friendly special.
What if I told you Wendy's has a new burger with a flavor so secret it's almost too delicious to handle? Well, now it's time to unlock that flavor. Try the new sweet and smoky barbecue cheeseburger. We can't tell you everything, but we can tell you that it's packed with flavor, including our secret barbecue sauce. Try the new sweet and smoky barbecue cheeseburger today. Available for a limited time. Limited time.
For over half a century, we've been more than just an airline. We've been a bridge, connecting families, dreams, and memories across the islands and beyond. Behind every seat sold and every journey planned, there's a dedicated team committed to making air travel affordable and accessible to everyone. At Bahamas Air, we're not just building connections, we're building a safe and dependable airline where quality service is paramount and an excellent travel experience is our priority. Wherever you're going, we're here to take you there with care, with heart, and with the promise of unforgettable journeys. We are family, and just like family, we're committed to taking care of our own. Your Bahamas Air is our Bahamas Air, because here at Bahamas Air, we don't just fly here, we live here.
And that does it for the National Report, but stay close. The Bahamas Tonight continues with Access Now.
In me, even though a lot of my independence, my mobility was being restricted. In my disability, it's kind of hard finding the investors or the capital. For example, national insurance. The benefit that we receive, it's a lifeline. And in any business that you're going to take, it's going to be a risk. We're not looking for handouts, but we want you to understand that we still need a little special care. This literally gives us a backbone that, hey, we could actually stand someday. This is the business I know it's going to be a risk. Even going through that process, I'm still dependent on national insurance. Overall, being in the program itself has put me in a place where I feel young again. I feel like anything is possible. I would say to others with disabilities, look around your community, just like you guys said in one of the modules. See what is needed in your community and go for it. Don't be afraid, just go for it.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
With Lyndon Pinling International Airport being named 2024's best airport in the Caribbean and Latin America by Airports Council International, President and CEO at NASA Airport Development Company, Vernice Joaquin, as well as Vice President of Operations, Jonathan Hanna, shared what this milestone accomplishment means for the future.
I think it's fair to say that LPIA is doing great things. We know that we have more things to do. And in fact, there are a couple more exciting announcements coming later on this week. But we're really pleased to be able to share with our stakeholders this exciting achievement of being named the best airport. And this was done by passengers, our guests coming through the airport, who indicated all of the services and the amenities that we provide here at LPIA. We could not have done this without all of the stakeholders who every day interact with these guests, and they provide that kind of quality service that is really important to us. So it's a very exciting time for us, and we're really pleased to be able to make that announcement now.
We couldn't be more excited about the award, particularly as we have just recently started our journey to 5 stars last December. So over the last few months, we've been really focused on training the entire airport population, developing our guest experience mission, vision, and values. And to win this award so early on, it really gives us a lot of hope. But we really want to just take a moment and thank the entire airport community for their help and their assistance in winning this award, because it's really a true team effort in getting us to this award. And so as we build on this, we really want to use this as a jump start to get even further into the 5-star experience how do we continue to make memorable experiences for each and every guest as they come through at each and every touch point throughout the airport journey. And so really excited about it and can't wait to see where we go from here.
For more tourism updates, visit Tourism Today or Bahamas.com. I'm Michael Miller, and this is Tourism Today.
Corval Pryfrom takes us on a tour of a United States Coast Guard cutter. Sounds exciting. Can't wait to see.
Plus, the ball is coming, the Cancer Society ball to be precise. Hear what the organizers have to say.
All things Coconut Fest is on the way. Stay close for that.
And coming up in sports, Bahamas Flag Football League hosts its opening day.
Tonight, Access Now starts now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis.
And I'm Marlena Leonard. Welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, Access Now.
The Bahamas Bridal Show is this weekend, Marlena. What do you have for someone who wants to go?
I have a free ticket, LaDawn. The ticket belongs to the first person to go on our Facebook feed, ZNS Network, and comment with the answer to the question, which year did the Bahamas Bridal Show start? Which year did the Bahamas Bridal Show start?
Be the first person to answer that question and win a ticket to the Bahamas Bridal Show. While you do that, we're going to dive right into the news, shall we? The Bahamas and the United States have a long tradition of partnership, and one area where that partnership bears huge significance is how it is used to protect our borders. This week marks this special relationship. The United States Coast Guard brought one of its most famed vessels right here to Nassau Harbor. Corval Pryfrom takes us on a tour.
Take a good look at this vessel. It may not seem that eye-catching from the outside, but get a bit closer, or like we did, get inside, and you're bound to be blown away by this nautical jewel. This is United States Coast Guard cutter Lawrence Lawson. It's crammed quarters for a crew of 27, but what this vessel lacks in size, it more than makes up for in capabilities and scope. This U.S. cutter, the Lawrence Lawson, a part of the U.S. Coast Guard's fleet based in Cape May, New Jersey, has made the 1,250 nautical mile trek to call the Nassau Harbor home this week. The ship, first commissioned in 2017, carries out emergency response and rescue operations, and its crews have participated in some major disasters out in the water. Lieutenant Nicholas Camwella, Lawson's commanding officer, and his crew recently invited my media colleagues and I on a tour of this vessel. We started on the bridge, where we were shown some of the vessel's elaborate high-tech, no doubt fast-speed communications. Believe it or not, this ship can be operated remotely. There are staterooms, living quarters, a place to just relax for these men and women who are often out at sea up to 7 days at a time and stationed to this vessel, like in the case of Lieutenant Camwella, up to 2 years. But none of that seems to be an issue for these officers. They know their duties, and they all seem to execute them well. She's, and yes, this baby is a girl despite her name, sits still for now here in the Nassau Harbor, but don't let that fool you. She can go real fast when she needs to, as Lieutenant Camwella explained when he showed us the engine room.
I typically try to burn as much fuel as possible when we need to, and if we do need to get somewhere pretty quickly, I don't hesitate about coming up in speed to 25, 30 knots. But generally, depending on where the area we are, traffic as well, what things look like, the weather. I won't go 30 knots in 7 to 8 foot seas, but if they're 2 to 4 feet seas, very doable, very easy. But always going to be a conversation with Sector Commander as to how fast can we get to that location.
The Coast Guard has worked with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force for many years, and this visit of the USCGC, Lawson says U.S. Charge d'Affaires Kimberly Furnish, also symbolizes the significance of this partnership.
166 human lives saved from search and rescue operations, and over 2,400 illegal migrant interdictions, which meant that between the RBDF and the U.S. Coast Guard, we found illegal migrants and we got them sent home.
For the Bahamas Tonight, Access Now, I'm Corval Pryfrom.
Well, the Cancer Society of the Bahamas is gearing up for its highly anticipated 2025 Cancer Society Ball. But behind the elegance is a serious mission. It's the fight against cancer. Diane Dorsett has the story.
The Bahamas has one of the highest breast cancer rates in the region, with nearly 1 in 8 Bahamian women diagnosed in their lifetime. And for men, prostate cancer accounts for a staggering 42% of all male cancer cases. Consulting urologist Dr. Robin Roberts says while awareness has increased, there is still concern about cancer rates, particularly in males.
We are aggressively pursuing awareness and education, and I think the men are listening. And so they're coming forth. Unfortunately, they are not coming forth as early as we would like to see them come, because we're still in a position today, 30 years later, where for every 100 men that come to see the doctor and is diagnosed with prostate cancer, in 70% plus of them, the cancer is already advanced outside the prostate.
It's a tough reality, but the Cancer Society is looking to change that. Funds raised from the Cancer Society Ball directly support critical services for patients, including medical care, free screenings, and accommodations for those traveling from the Family Islands for treatment. The Society's treasurer, Beverly Larimore, says events like the ball are crucial in funding treatment and awareness efforts.
We do a lot of awareness programs where we get into the schools or into the churches or into organizations and spread the awareness of cancer awareness. And that takes a lot of funding. One of our major aspects of contributions to the community is we provide free accommodations for cancer patients, especially from the Family Islands, who have to come in for treatments free of charge right here in this building.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Diane Dorset.
Thanks a lot, Diane. Well, donating a pint of blood to save a life is an ongoing appeal made by officials of the blood bank. The blood supply varies based on the demand and is good for about 35 days. But recently, there's been a high volume of flyers in circulation requesting blood donations from the public. PMH Hospital Administrator Jessica Cartwright says she appreciates the urgency of families to engage their loved ones who are in need of blood. However, she wants to put a public myth behind the flyers to rest.
There is a myth that we would take this opportunity to debunk, and that speaks to if a pint of blood is given to a relative, that is the pint that came through the flyer. We don't prohibit and we don't pause the need, waiting on supply to come from a family member. So if there is a need for blood, we supply the blood. And what we're asking the public to do in those instances is to replenish the stock so that we can continue to be there for all Bahamians.
According to stats, some 250 donors come into the blood bank to give blood monthly, and it appears that men are leading in the volunteering effort. But Cartwright says just because you come out to give blood for the first time does not automatically make you a donor.
There's a screening process first to determine your eligibility. And once you're eligible, we are happy that you will donate blood for us, and we ask you and continue to plead with the public to come back and donate again.
Well, tomorrow is World Agriculture Day, and it will also mark a special moment for the local coconut commercial industry as the Ministry of Agriculture hosts the first ever Coconut 360 event in Rawson Square. Scores of vendors will take over the site where they will display everything, and again, we stress everything coconut related. Senator Tyrell Young is a consultant at the ministry and a coordinator of the event.
So tomorrow is actually going to be an exciting day here in Rawson Square and for the Bahamas at large. What you can expect is actually a coconut festival. So even though we are launching the Coconut 360 project, the whole day is going to be around the coconut festival. So everything coconut is what is going to be out here tomorrow at Rawson Square.
Cracked coconut, desserts, salads, fritters are just some of the treats guests will be able to bite into. But Young tells us that's just for starters. There's more than that.
We have some other entrepreneurs who will be showcasing some of the what we call byproducts or value-added products of coconut, which we have products such as charcoal that is made from the coconut husk. We have jewelry that is made from the coconut shell, and we also have figurines that are made from the coconut products. So there'll be a lot to see. A lot of informative information that will be distributed, and we are excited to see what tomorrow brings.
It's a story of faith, resilience, and redemption as Reverend Dr. Jenny Humes hosts the official book launch for her autobiography entitled Living by Faith. Reverend Humes, speaking to a crowd of attendees at the Church of God on Eden Street, says that it was her daughter and the Holy Spirit's guidance which led to her writing and publishing the testimony.
My adopted daughter, Lakeisha Morse, came and took me out to lunch at the poop deck. And it was at that poop deck that the Holy Spirit revealed to her that I have to write the book. And it took in my spirit because I know that she was right on course. And I said to her, I will write this book.
After surrendering her life to Christ at 15 and later battling grief following the death of her husband, Hume says that her book will provide inspiration for those battling difficult times.
This book is my personal testimony, where God has taken me from one level to another level in the Church of God. My prayer is that some soul will come to know Jesus as Lord and Savior. We want to lift up the name of Jesus because he said when he is lifted up, he will draw all men to him.
And still to come, well, it's Wednesday again, and you know what that means. Leno Wealthwise is up after the break, so keep it locked.
Whole corn, 15 ounces, 99 cents. Share priority spaghetti and meatballs, 15 ounces, 179. Olivia vegetable or canola oil, 48 ounces, $4.99. Polish chuck roast or steak, $5.99 per pound. Fresh tomatoes, $1.59 per pound. If you want to see some madness this March, shop the specials at Simple Value and Quality Supermarkets.
With BGC's crystal clear mobile service, stay connected seamlessly, whether on land or at sea. Our reliable postpaid plans keep your loved ones closer, no matter where life takes you.
For 3 exciting days, the National High School Track and Field Championships will take place at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium, and ZNS TV will bring you all the action. On Thursday, March 20th, tune in from 6 to 6:30 p.m. for the opening ceremony, and then starting at 8 p.m., join ZNS as young athletes from high schools all over the Bahamas go for gold in the finals. The future of Bahamian track and field. The National High School Track and Field Championships live on ZNS TV, March 20th to 22nd. Don't miss it.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, Access Now. And we're flying high tonight, showing a beautiful sunset right behind the beach at Atlantis. We see you peeping, Mr. Sunset. That shot is by our drone pilot, Destiny Reed. Good job, Des. Well, let's take a flight down to Exuma to see what our Altivis Munnings is up to.
Preparing an authentically Bahamian breakfast comes natural for many residents, and for those who make this a career, business is pretty good. Altivis Munnings has a story of a female entrepreneur in Exuma whose kitchen skills have made her quite the sensation.
Nestled in the heart of Georgetown, Exuma, Rush Hour Cafe has become one of the most popular spots in town. Anything you want for breakfast, you can find right there. But for founder and owner Shakira Longley, becoming an entrepreneur was a long venture. She fell in love with cooking in her youth, and it blossomed into a full-time career.
I started my restaurant, well, actually, it wasn't a restaurant at first. I started out of my vehicle during the pandemic. I was a travel consultant at one of the major hotels over here. And of course, the country had to do the close down. I found it to be a need, whereas you still had certain persons working, essential workers working, and they couldn't find food to eat during their work. So I was cooking from I was 10 because my mother, she taught me how to cook from I was 10. She had a restaurant as well, also named Rush Hour. And one day, me and my sister decided to put food in our car and drive around and see how it go. And it was very, very good.
And the demand and positive feedback has kept her going. So much so, she was able to open her own brick and mortar store. Although she's busy in the kitchen by 6 o'clock every morning, she takes personal time to motivate and encourage her customers every day.
You can find challenges in everything you do in life, but once you put him first, and the center, he is literally the key.
Here's her advice to future female entrepreneurs.
So never give up on your dreams and your goals. If you want to accomplish something great in life, it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. I don't think that I've reached where I want to be personally as yet. So I encourage you to keep going, keep pushing, and keep pressing. And whatever obstacle come your way, just remember, sometimes we got to take our little break, take our little cry if we have to, but never stop pushing, keep going.
For the Bahamas Tonight Access Now, I'm Altaviz Munnings.
Well, investing can be a powerful way to build wealth, but should you focus on long-term growth or quick gains? Those at Leno say the best approach is one that stands the test of time. Diane Dorset has more.
When it comes to building wealth, financial advisors stress the importance of taking a long-term approach. Instead of chasing quick profits, VP of Investments Sonia Benary says smart investing is about patience and consistency.
Long-term wealth building is widely regarded as a more prudent strategy of investing compared to seeking short-term gains. It focuses on financial resilience, the power of compounding, and reducing the risks associated with short-term market fluctuations. This approach is better suited to achieving key financial goals such as retirement, legacy planning, and financial security.
So what are the best strategies for long-term wealth growth? They say it all comes down to smart decision-making and consistency.
Some of the most effective strategies for growing wealth over time is invest consistently. Dedicate a specific amount of your income to savings and investments. Diversify your portfolio. Do not invest all your money into one stock, bond, or venture. A mutual fund is a low-cost way to diversify. Reinvest interest and dividends earned on current investments and watch the glorious effect of compounding. Use low-cost investment vehicles such as mutual funds and/or exchange-traded funds. Leno offers several mutual and exchange-traded fund options for you to consider.
Taking a long-term approach can help investors ride out market fluctuations while steadily increasing their wealth. Next week, we'll explore how even those with limited resources can start investing. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Diane Dorset.
Some good advice from Leno. I, for one, feel a little more financially responsible. Well, let's see what's coming up in sports.
An opening day for the Bahamas Flag Football League. Details of that story and more coming up in sports.
At RBC, we're proud to support Alive's Ultimate Business Makeover campaign for a second year. We know that micro, small, and medium businesses are vital to our economy. They drive innovation, and more importantly, they create jobs. By investing in their growth, we're fostering economic success, and together we can pave the road to a thriving business community.
Hey, it's your honorary pump attendant back again with another episode on the do's and don'ts at a service station. Let's go. What you ain't gonna do is just pull up to any dispenser and put the nozzle inside your car without reading the signs. Because if you put the wrong fuel inside your car and the car mess up, you can be mad at us, all right? And then you have to walk a catch bus for about 3 to 18 months. What you're supposed to do is read the signs. We place signs all over the dispenser to tell you which fuel is which. Because you put the wrong one in the car, say bop, and you could be mad at us. You could be, oh, what happened to my car? No, it's you who ain't read. It say diesel, diesel, one word, diesel. You got up, and you mad at us. Read, that's all you have to do.
Welcome to your Wednesday Sports Check, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles, topping sports. Well, Sunday, it was opening day for the Bahamas Flag Football League at the field outside the old Thomas A. Robinson Stadium with a full slate, 5 games on deck. On the men's side, a rivalry renewed between the Renegades and the Hornets. This one would be a defensive battle that would go down to the wire. And after 2 tries in overtime, this one would end in a 6-6 draw.
It was a tough day. Hats off to the Hornets. They played a really good game. We made a few mistakes that we need to clean up on. We'll be ready for next week.
We played a lot of rookies today. A lot of injuries hurt us. But the guys came in and stepped in, and we was able to at least get out with a tie and not a loss.
Look at some of the other scores from Sunday's games. The Lions would defeat Team Red Dot 21-0. The Predators and Avengers would also play to a 6-6 draw after 2 OTs. The Hawks would defeat the Aces 34-6, and the Wildcats, they would shut out the Lady Avengers 26-0. Now this season, the new administration revealing that fans won't necessarily have to wait until Sunday to watch their favorite teams on the gridiron.
On the 28th of March, we have Friday Night Lights. Yes, I said that correct, Friday Night Lights. So this is going to be introducing football at Friday night under the lights. And we know a lot of players aren't used to playing under the lights, but this is something new we're going to be introducing under this administration. And we just want to bring that feel and something different to football.
That's my look at your sports on this Wednesday. A check on weather when we return.
Grade A large eggs, 1 dozen, $3.79. Kraft macaroni and cheese, 7 1/4 ounces, $1.29. Rainbow green pigeon peas, 15 ounces, 2 for $2.89. Chicken leg quarters, 10-pound bag, $1.19 per pound. Sweet strawberries, 1 pound, $3.99. If you want to see some madness this March, shop the specials at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Welcome to What's Trending. Join me, Jiminita Swain.
And me, The Bahama Beauty, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m.
Only on the ZNS Network.
It's time now for your Access weather forecast, and the rain gauges are empty, and that's due to dry conditions which are prevailing, but there is a front system on the way. We expect that to move into the area on Friday morning, and we'll bring with it some cool weather with very little rainfall associated with that system. Now, your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Live Business, where we bulk up your business for all areas tonight right through Thursday. The winds are going to be north to northwest at 10 to 15 knots. The wave heights 2 to 4 feet. The high tide that will take place at 14 minutes past midnight, with a low tide at 6:41 tomorrow morning. And then on Friday in the northwestern islands, the winds will increase significantly. That's when that front will go through. The winds become northwest at 15 to 25 knots behind the front. Very rough sea conditions at 5 to 8 feet over the ocean, so we will place an advisory in place for the northwest Bahamas on Friday morning. Now, the low tide, that will take place at 7:33 in the morning with a high tide at 1:14 in the afternoon. And for the central and southeastern islands, southwest to west winds, 10 to 15 knots. The wave heights 2 to 4 feet. It's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they're brought to you by Brawl Star.
My body's aching, no appetite, scratchy throat, running nose too. Got to see my doctor, it could be the flu. Oh doctor, I ain't doing good. If I got the flu, then that's understood. He said, open your mouth wide, say ah.
That's going to do it for your international temperature, brought to you by Royal Star Charlotte. Join me at 11 o'clock for a full weather update. LaDawn and Malia.
Thanks a lot, Basil. The southern United States is taking a battering with that storm, Malena.
Yeah, I've noticed. And while I'm loving these cold temperatures we're having, this is definitely some weird weather. I mean, the first day of spring is tomorrow.
Definitely, and it goes to show you that climate change is real and we must take it seriously, right?
Very seriously. Well, let's take a look at Let's Talk Socials with Matea Cunningham.
Good Wednesday evening and welcome back to Let's Talk Socials. Now, if you love a good throwback, this one's for you. Will Smith just took us way back by recreating one of the most iconic Fresh Prince of Bel-Air moments. As a matter of fact, we've just discussed it last week, his legendary dance with Ashley Banks. But at the time, he wasn't alone. He brought in Doechii to add some extra sauce, and let's just say the internet is eating it up. Check this out.
Somebody's watching me, it's my anxiety.
The way he still has the moves, the nostalgia hitting just right. Yeah, this is a full circle moment. So what's the verdict? Is this the ultimate 90s meets now crossover? And what other classic TV moment needs a modern remix? Let's talk. That's it for Let's Talk Socials. I'll catch you next time.
Thanks a lot, Matea. Well, all good things must come to an end. That's a wrap for Access Now this evening, Malena.
Yep, but make sure to join us tomorrow for more community news.
Good night, everybody.
So I thought we could cover a lot more people by feeding. Volunteers, you know, they have truly been sold.
My passion is to help, and I thank God for what I can do through the help of Bahamas Feeding Network.
The Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting is partnering with the Bahamas Christian Council to help build stronger Bahamian families.
I believe that our ultimate experience in living begins with God and family.
Our purpose is to facilitate, guide, inspire, and equip you to have a better life.
And a strong family foundation begins with each of us trying to become better individuals.
Let's unite for a stronger Bahamas.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, the heartbeat of the nation, leading Bahamians from dependency to self-sufficiency to economic empowerment.
Abuse, domestic violence, suicidal tendencies. Are you being stressed out from these problems? Call the national hotline at 422-2763 or 322-2763. There are trained social workers available 24 hours to help you. Know that you are not alone in this.
At Harold One, I'm Ted Jervis, and this is ZNS.
The Rundown is brought to you by Commonwealth Brewery Limited. Good evening at the start of another week, and welcome indeed to the show. It's great to have all of you with us tonight. Around 50 Grand Bahama police officers living in police-assisted homes recently received eviction notices from the Commissioner of Police, Shanton Olds. And now, Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard claims that some of these officers have been living in police housing facilities for around 10 years, while adding that the Minister of National Security, his team, should have a, quote, have a heart and recant the eviction notices that were originally sent. Well, the Minister of National Security has responded with a strong statement, setting indeed the record straight. And of course, our Shane Stubbs of our Northern Service has more on this tonight.
The Ministry of National Security should immediately withdraw that letter so that they are able to address what will be a housing crisis for officers.
That's Opposition Leader the Honorable Michael Pintard in a press conference addressing the police housing issue. But tonight the minister is firing back. Through a statement released yesterday evening, Minister Munro says Michael Pintard's reckless and misleading statements on police housing show a clear disregard for facts and a willingness to politicize a routine administrative matter. Before making baseless claims, he should have done his due diligence and sought the truth instead of irresponsibly spreading falsehoods. The facts are clear. No police officer has been forced onto the streets. The housing assessment applies to officers who have lived in government-provided rentals for at least 5 years, some for as long as 2 decades, at the expense of the police budget. Every officer was given ample notice and multiple options. Officers received 3 to 6 months notice to transition to private accommodations. If additional time was needed, they were instructed to make a formal request. Not a single officer has submitted such a request. The Commissioner acted within the law and long-standing policy. The force's standing orders outlined the rules regarding housing, and officers who were unaware of them were provided copies. Some officers had already secured private housing while still occupying government rentals. The statement furthers, once an officer is deemed domiciled, meaning they have lived in a government-provided residence beyond the entitled period of 5 to 6 years, the financial obligation should no longer fall on the government. The reality is that for years, the government has continued to absorb these housing costs despite officers surpassing the period of entitlement. This has resulted in a situation where public funds have been used for expenses that should have been the responsibility of the officers themselves. The Commissioner of Police is now correcting the issue by enforcing the standard policy. Once an officer is deemed domiciled, they must either assume responsibility for their housing costs or relocate. Officers have been given 6 months to make their arrangements. The government has also forgiven the financial obligations that officers should have assumed long ago, a move that underscores fairness, not hardship. Unlike my predecessor, I will not interfere with the independent administration of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. The statement continues, it is very clear that the Free National Movement does not respect the independence of the Royal Bahamas Police Force or the office of the Commissioner. Instead of consulting or seeking to understand the matter, they resort to making foolish and irresponsible commentary. Pintard's decision to ignore the facts proves that his goal was never to advocate for the officers, but rather to manufacture controversy for political gain. This kind of reckless behavior from the leader of the opposition is not just irresponsible, it is dishonest. The government remains committed to ensuring that public resources are used fairly and effectively while supporting the men and women of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. We will not be distracted by political gamesmanship, nor will we allow misinformation to go unchallenged. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shane Stubbs.
All right, thanks a lot, Shane. That statement pretty much sums it all up, and the concern that many people are facing tonight as to whether or not there was a legitimate claim there, or whether it was just pontificating, politicizing, grandstanding. Tonight we'll have more on this story from the country's Foreign Affairs Minister. It's going to be one of the things we put to him as well, indeed, as the chairman of the party, and find out exactly his take on this whole ordeal. We've got several questions also we want to pitch to him tonight. Dominating national headlines is, of course, the U.S. government's threat to revoke visas of officials who engage Cuban medical professionals. I'm sure he should have something interesting to say about that. And that basically the entire Caribbean by far, obviously, on this matter. But regional leaders, they're pushing back on those threats. Of course, we have to talk about our diplomatic relations around the globe as well. That's important to get a picture of tonight. And then, of course, like we said, we're going to do a little bit of politics tonight as well. Now, the Bahamas Trade Commission's chairman, Barry Griffin, is also here tonight to clarify why the high cost of living and what they're doing to address it, the upcoming 5% value-added tax rate on groceries, the price comparison, and opportunities for entrepreneurs and young people. So it's going to be a very interesting and high impact show tonight with information. Got a lot to talk about. When the rundown comes back, we're going to jump right into our conversation. At this desk, the Minister of Foreign Affairs will be here to take those questions for you. You're watching the rundown on the ZNS network. We're back after this. Stay close.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exuma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass it along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
Planning the execution of a newscast is serious business. From the assignment to the concept of the story, everything has to be precise, on point, always. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, is your trusted news service. We get it right the first time. Our preparation for you each night is done with care, knowing that our voices will reach you on 700 islands and keys with unquestionable accuracy. It gives me great pleasure each night to say, welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm your national anchor, Mukesh Lopinder.
Hi, I'm Brent Burrows, Vice President of Retail and Sales at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store. Not only do we guarantee the best prices on all your favorite building materials, we're proud to offer the best delivery program in all of Nassau. Whether you buy one box of screws or a truckload of plywood, island-wide delivery is just $5. And for our Family Island customers, we're proud to offer complimentary drop-off to the mailboat of your choice. Visit us today at the CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road and check out our website to set up your next delivery.
Welcome back to the rundown. A pleasant good evening to all of you joining us either in the Lion's Den or if you're, of course, on YouTube or wherever you're getting your platform from tonight in the region and around the world. Good night to all of you. Thanks for joining us. Well, the Bahamas has played a dominant role on the regional and world stage. Since independence, we've formed diplomatic relations with many countries pretty much around the world. It has not changed. It's been that consistent. Heading this portfolio is no stranger to Bahamian government, Senior Cabinet Minister, and, of course, National Progressive Party Chairman and Member of Parliament for Fox Hill, the Honorable Fred Mitchell. And I think it's so important for us to also know that he's an attorney, but more importantly, former journalist, having spent some time here at the Broadcasting Corporation. And I'm even told a fun fact tonight that we can mention about him is that in May, the minister will celebrate his 33rd year in Bahamian politics.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time. Of course, he travels around the world representing us on diplomatic ties. Minister, welcome to the show. Good to have you with us.
Yes, back to my old desk here.
Yeah, there you go. Welcome home.
Right. Yeah.
So obviously, we want to jump right in and talk about a couple of things that are concerning Bahamians tonight. Of course, the first one would be what actions or steps are being taken by the Bahamas government to respond to the allegations by the United States of, quote, forced labor being used in the Cuban work retention program.
The Prime Minister's made it quite clear that the bottom line is the Bahamas government is not involved in any practices which violate the international labor standards. This is a bit of a storm in a teacup, and perhaps many people think is ideologically driven.
you know, U.S. visa policies are what they are, and as I've said, many Bahamians complain to us about the way they're treated at the U.S. Embassy. They complain about the decisions. They seem arbitrary, whimsical, but their law, as I understand it, makes visa decisions subjective. So basically, the consular officer can make it on whatever basis it feels like. But the country's reputation should not be damaged by allegations or insinuations that are really inaccurate. And the Prime Minister basically is speaking up for the truth of it, and the facts will out. We assume that we're dealing with rational actors here in the United States, and if the truth comes out, the truth should prevail.
We have seen a lot on the international scene, perhaps those last 6 weeks, the decisions of the United States and their administration, and some people can describe it as far as, you know, left as you want it to go, or as far right as you think it should go. But nonetheless, there have been some strange decisions made, and the concern is, will that pressure be put on the Caribbean region, in particular the Bahamas, if they don't believe we're cooperating to their liking, I like to put it. Is there a concern, serious concern there?
Well, let me put it this way. The Bahamas is tied to the hip, the United States, in its economy and its geography. That's not going to change anytime soon. There are major trading partners, major investors, and it's really the same for the entire Caribbean region. So, you know, Pierre Trudeau had a famous saying about, you know, whether someone of a gentle persuasion or someone of other persuasion is in charge in the U.S. It is what it is, and you just have to adjust to what it is. A small country doesn't have an army, doesn't have the economy to fight back in that way, but it does have its voice, and it has its moral values. And if 1973 is going to mean anything at all, it is to speak up when there's something which adversely affects our country. We have a responsibility to do that. We can't speak for what the other party is going to do. That's their business, what they do. But we can stand up for ourselves. Having said that, there's a very thin line that you have to walk with this, because I noticed, for example, all of the text messages coming to me, you can't let these people bully you and all the rest of it, right? That's all fine. I understand that on one level. But on the other hand, you know, all our food comes from them. Yeah. I think you're going to talk a bit about that later on. All our food comes from them. All the inputs into the tourism product comes from them. All the tourists come from them. So you've got an interest in maintaining and protecting those interests. So that's why I've said decisions in the past by the United States have affected our economy. In 1919, I think they passed a constitutional amendment, if you could believe it, that you couldn't drink liquor. But that caused a huge boom in our country. And then at one point, we had access to their markets as farmers. That's how Sidney Poitier got born in the United States. And then they shut the market, so you couldn't go into the United States with the produce. So there are ups and downs in the relationship. The smaller country is not in a position to dictate terms, but the assumption always is that you're dealing with rational actors. That's the presumption. It may be rebuttable, but you're dealing with responsible, rational actors, and that the truth and the facts will out. We have familial ties with them. We have close economic ties with them, and there's no reason to believe that they would deliberately disrupt those ties, a nation and nations that are their friends. That's the assumption we're going to proceed on. That's how it's worked out in the past, and that's how we expect it'll work out this time.
Initially, when the Trump administration took office, there was this kind of push for the Bahamas to take illegal migrants, whether there was concerns as to whether they were actual Bahamians or we were just being asked to take them. And there was this, well, we need you to cooperate. Where are we with that?
This was a proposition that was floated by the Biden administration before the present administration took over, and the Prime Minister was quite clear that was not acceptable to us, and it's still not acceptable to us. I think where there's a bit of a problem is that, you know, in this country you get citizenship by descent, not by birth.
Correct.
So that means your parents have to be Bahamian in order to claim Bahamian citizenship. And so there's this category of people, largely from our neighbor to the south, who are born here, have a right, conditional right, I guess you'd call it, to apply for Bahamian citizenship at their 18th birthday and before their 19th birthday. Now, many of them have left the country as children, gone to the States, and run into trouble. And in the past, the United States has tried to deport them back to the Bahamas, which is the country where they were born. And we said, well, no, they're not citizens of the Bahamas, so they have to go back to their country of citizenship. That arose again this time, and our position is the same. As a question of law, we are obliged to accept anyone who's a Bahamian citizen, and anyone who's not has to go to their country of origin.
Is there a need to review this Cuban program? I know there have been talks about concerns about it. Is there a need to review the Cuban medical mission program that we have in place, or do you maintain that it's sound and all of the checks and balances have been put in place?
Well, as I said, the general proposition is there's no evidence, as far as we can tell, that we violate any international labor standards. Of course, when your neighbor shouts and says there's a problem, you always examine the problem to see the truth or otherwise of what exists. So I imagine that those who are responsible for these programs will have a look at it. There's nothing we see by evidence that the assertions are correct. What we do know is that the medical practitioners from Cuba play an important role in our healthcare, and this is particularly so in a situation where there's active recruitment, aggressive recruitment from the United States of our nurses and doctors in this country. So we are using our public funds to train nurses and doctors who then go and work in the U.S. We lose them to the U.S., and then as a result we have to recruit in other areas, and then you have this, what I call this Hobson's choice, which is not really a choice when they make assertions of the kind that we now see. We'll see. As I said, the assumption is, and people keep smiling at that point, but the assumption has to be in diplomacy and in law that we are dealing with rational actors, and rational actors will act in favor of the truth.
We certainly hope somebody will watch that. I want to get back to something you mentioned in your comment, and I thought it was something we should go back on. That is, of course, concerns and complaints from Bahamians trying to get visas in the U.S. Embassy. Is this something that you have formally complained to the embassy about or sought to seek about? No doubt many Bahamians who have to apply are going to be concerned as to whether they'll get a fair shake at it.
Yeah, we have formally complained, and formally complained to previous administrations, and the complaints obtained. And the difficulty is we have a difficulty explaining to Bahamians that the foreign ministry has no control or influence over decisions made by the U.S. with regard to visas. Having said that, as a public proposition, there are some people who say Bahamians or Caribbean citizens or foreigners do not have a right to go to the United States. And I suppose in one legal aspect that is correct, but I was looking at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights today. People have a right to leave their country. Doesn't say they have a right to go to another country, but the corollary of that is, in fact, that you have a right to enter a country and to go there for trade and commerce and all the rest of it. And you should be treated with respect with regard to it. And there should not be things which prevent you from going, either artificially constructed or ideologically constructed. And most Bahamians only want to go there to go shopping or for medical care, health care. And the other thing is for education. And to me, it's just a little too numerous now, these complaints about this. And we have an obligation to raise it with them to say, hey, you have to have a look at this and see whether, as rational actors, you are actually acting according to law and rationally with regard to the decisions you're making about Bahamians who wish to access your country.
We do have some Bahamians whose status is in limbo in the United States. Has the Ministry of Foreign Affairs been in contact with them, and what is your message to them?
I think they said there's something like 400-odd people who are in the
minute compared to other countries.
Yeah. I'm not sure. No one has actually sent out a distress signal as such, but you know that people are. There are some people who are actually in the custody of ICE, which is the body which is responsible for the deportations, and we try to move those along as smoothly as possible.
All right. Thank you so much, Minister. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about some things in the local front, the other portfolio, your other hat. Stay with us. You're watching The Rundown with the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We come back, we'll talk about his portfolio. He's chairman of the PLP. We're back after this. Stay close.
I was an electrician for 18 years, and one day I just lost my sight and found that I was in a totally new world. I just found this strength that came from nowhere, and here I am today. Even though I am faced with disabilities, the fire in me, it never went out as related to me being an entrepreneur. But the barrier is just people being understanding and willing to take a chance on somebody like myself. My dream is to see where the government can really pass laws, legislation to assist people like myself. And whether you believe it or not, we do have something to offer this country. We have to make people understand that we are here. And not in many cases we looking for handout. We want to make a contribution. You gotta live. And part of living is that you gotta take charge of your life. And through programs like this with the SBDC, I know for a fact that my business can now come to life.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
It's time to grow your church. Time to extend your message to all the islands in the Bahamas, into the Turks and Caicos Islands, and to the world via the ZNS app and website. It's time to broadcast your church's services on ZNS TV. To help you with that, ZNS has some exciting new packages with very good prices. It's time to call 502-3813 for details.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community. Also help with the education of our kids in this community and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Stripe and the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
Welcome back to The Rundown. My conversation tonight is with Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Fred Mitchell. We've done talking about a lot of the diplomatic stuff internationally. I want to talk more on the local front now as chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party. Minister, we played at the top of the show a story yesterday with the Opposition Free National Movement holding a press conference to cry shame on, they call the government, for eviction notices that were issued by the Commissioner of Police for persons who are living in I guess, police housing in Grand Bahama. And according to the information, these were persons who have been living way past the time stipulated for living in those areas. Some of them living there for up to 2 decades, we understand. There are other police officers waiting to get into those homes. They were given notice. They were told if you needed to stay longer, write. No one wrote. So they assume that everybody has found their way. We've been told that some persons are actually, we told a couple who's living there is actually renting apartments elsewhere. Right. So obviously they're finding a way to capitalize on the whole movement thing. And then a statement came today, yesterday, yesterday from the Minister of National Security, crying shame on what he called it to be politicizing this. Your response, you talked about it in your daily voice notes. Your response to this?
Well, I used to be public service minister, and there's this policy on domicile, and after you've been in place for 5 years, you lose all the allowances. That's so in the foreign service. Now, what tends to happen in our country is these things lapse, nobody pays attention to them, and then it just goes on and on and on and on. So the Commissioner of Police has decided to make a decision on this. As they say, there's a new sheriff in town, and you could argue that you should or shouldn't, would not. Opposition parties, their job is to rattle our cage, I suppose. So, I mean, he looked, the dramatis personae, the two of them with serious faces, and, we must withdraw this eviction notice straight away, right? Shaking our boots. But the serious point is that the minister said in his statement that if anyone has some issue arising out of this, then simply approach the authorities and there'll be some adjustments made for those particular cases. So far, that's not been done. So I think Mr. Pintard doesn't have the political capital that he thinks he has in this particular situation. Anytime the PLP is involved in something and people are in distress or they have to appeal to the human side of things, we always err on the side of that, and I'm satisfied the minister and the Commissioner of Police will do that.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the political front. You're the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party. What is the Progressive Liberal Party? What are some of the checks and balances you're putting in place now as you prepare to go to elections next year that you think the party must do in order to prepare itself for the election season?
Well, the first thing is you got to put your brain in gear for the fact that we are entering campaign season. And over the weekend, we had 6 of our branches together with a consultant who was going over the whole thing of statistics and data and targets and all the rest of that, and swapping stories about how people can prepare themselves for canvassing and what they should say in canvassing. This is part of an ongoing review that we've had over the last year, constituency by constituency, member of parliament by member of parliament, to have an assessment of where we are in fact. It's very easy to be in government and forget the fundamentals, which is that you need to be in contact with people, because this is a people business. We have small constituencies, so there's no reason why you can't be in touch with electors at least once during the term. Patrick Manning, when he's Prime Minister in Trinidad, used to mandate that members of Parliament would have one day where they did nothing else but see constituents in their constituency offices. So the deal is to get everybody cranked up into that mode again and to understand that, this is a people business. This is also put money on the ground business. This is, getting yourself organized with statistics and data because election is coming.
Will the Progressive Liberal Party run in the same candidates again?
I can't speak to that. As the chairman of the party, my role now is to make sure everybody is kept together. We don't have candidates as such. We have members of parliament who sit in seats. All of them, as far as I'm aware, have been given their marching orders to keep the troops together, and all of them are doing that insofar as I can tell. I've been really pleased at the volume of branch meetings that take place on a monthly, weekly basis. I try to go to as many of them as I can, and to thank people for their support, because this is a people's business. It's a volunteer business, to listen to what people have to say and to make sure that the government's policies and the application of those policies are adjusted to what people are actually saying on the ground. You have to be really careful not to live in a bubble.
I'm glad you said that, because there's been concern that the Progressive Party's base has had concerns about either been ignored, been overlooked. When you came to office, they weren't helped, they didn't get all that sorted out. And now, normally, parties would need the same base to be on the ground talking to people. How's the Progressive Party bridging that gap?
Again, there's an old ad, I think it was for Delta Airlines, but and it's talking about, it starts off with a man in a factory, and he's saying how an old customer called him up and said, "I don't understand this organization anymore." and he says, I bought some Delta Airlines tickets and you're all going back to the markets and you're going to check with them, and so you reintroduce yourself to old friends and introduce yourself to new friends. And that's where we are. Every member of parliament, every senator has been given the marching order that you have to go back into constituencies. If you don't already, you have to hold regular branch meetings. This is like church, every Sunday. So every month the branch has to meet and you get a chance to swap stories and everybody understands where we are, and we have to work toward that goal. And the goal is not because we are so crazy for power, because power, of course, is important. And you can only do things for people if you have power. But the fact is the country is better served if the Progressive Liberal Party has another term, because you need the continuity. I was saying this morning that continuity is a big thing for me, because people keep complaining about crime, for example. And we know that the long-term, the way to deal with solving the crime problems is actually long-term. And, democracy being what it is, thank God for that. But the fact is that we've been back and forth, 5 years here, 5 years there. And every time the Free National Movement comes in, they cancel the social programs that we've been engaged in, to our detriment. And then they complain that crime is out of hand, or so they say. But if we have consistently the two terms, I think the country will appreciate the stability, the consistency, the peace, the less violence that will ensue as a result of consistent policies. And that's really why we're arguing for the second term, not for aggrandizement, but for the best interest of the country. And where people feel that there's a default, please know that you have members of parliament and senators who are accessible to you, and please make sure you access them. And if there's a default, we've got a party central office. Get in touch with us, and we will try and rectify whatever those situations are.
There have been some challenges, obviously, with Grand Bahama, getting the Grand Lacaille Hotel sold, getting the airport up and running with new partnership, and of course the dispute going on with the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Do you believe you have enough success to tout in Grand Bahama to say, give the Progressive Liberal Party a second term?
Again, my argument is the consistency, standing up for the Bahamian community there. I think West Grand Bahama is an example of the way that investments play out to the benefit of people, and we certainly will be defending Ginger Moxie's seat with all the moxie that we've got, and we're going to target the leader of the opposition seat to make sure that he's uncomfortable as possible during the campaign coming up. So if he keeps his job, it'll only be by the grace of God.
Let's turn and talk about the concern about corruption. It was mentioned in a U.S. report, and it's something that the opposition parties have been using and saying this government, this administration is corrupt. What do you say in response to that?
That's a piece of fiction that has been trotted out by the Free National Movement over many years. The interesting thing, of course, is that they trot it out, but it doesn't work, because they lost the election after trotting that out in 2021. They're trying to find scandal again where there is no scandal. And they try always to employ the language of American reports about what is supposedly going on in the Bahamas. As far as we know, these cases have nothing to do with institutional corruption, this case that they keep touting in the United States. And of course, you have their own president of the United States saying that the district that issued the indictments is itself corrupt. So, I mean, I don't know what anyway, that aside. But the fact is that when you go and look at the history, if you deal with the UBP, there's real corruption there, self-dealing, paying themselves consultancy fees from the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and then their successes with the Free National Movement. And if you go back to what happened in 1977 when Pinling got rid of, 6 or 7 of them for various corruption allegations, some of them were charged before the courts. So, if you want to play that game, you can. What you know is that every time there's an allegation of corruption against the Progressive Liberal Party, it's thoroughly investigated, and dealt with one way or the other. And so there's nothing that says that the Progressive Liberal Party, or that can prove that the Progressive Liberal Party is a corrupt organization. In fact, it is the nation-building organization. It is the political party that builds the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And what they're trying to use now is this Procurement Act, which the Free National Movement passed in a rush before the last election. And when that matter was debated in the House and in the Senate, we said, look, we support this only to this extent, that it preserves the right for single source procurement. And why is that? Because the way the deck is stacked in this country economically, if you don't have single source procurement and the ability to have affirmative action, the same suspects will get the contracts each and every day. And we said we would not support that aspect. Once that was included, we support it. So don't come with this stuff about single sourcing or as if something is wrong and that it's directed toward political cronies and all the rest of that. In each case, when you check single source procurement, you will find that the law on it was followed meticulously and to the letter and spirit of the law. But the idea is to help those who are at the bottom of the rung to get a lift up to the top. And that remains the Progressive Liberal Party's mission today and going forward.
Elections around the world, incumbents have been challenged with the issue of cost of living. How does this administration expect to address that?
Well, one of the things I think we ought to engage in is public education because as I said, we are appended to the U.S. economy. All of the inputs into this economy come from the United States of America. So policies which inflict high costs on U.S. goods, we import the inflation. So people ought to know that the inflation we have is not inflation by our own making. It's inflation which is derived from another source. And so the Bahamas government is doing what it can to manage that. You'll soon hear the extent of alternative markets and trying to find cheaper goods. But remember that our main trading partner is engaged in a trade war itself with others. They've decided to pursue a particular methodology to accomplish gains for their economy, and that has knock-on effects on the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
I think a good question to wrap up on is what people have been asking. I've been watching them online, and the question here is there going to be an early election? Now that you're going to come out and say, yes, there will be an early election, prepare now. But I guess the question should be, is the Progressive Party, do they see the needs for an early election, or is there still more work that needs to be done?
Well, we've got a mandate for 5 years. The term began the 10th of October, 2021. You count 5 years from the day of the first meeting of the House of Assembly, 5 years later. So the mandate runs out the 10th of October, 2026. There's no reason, I can tell, to have any general election. There's no crisis. There's nothing which suggests otherwise. So you serve out your term. They want to push us into a mistake that their former prime minister made. Poor them, 8 months, call the election 8 months early, and lost 8 months worth of salary. They're still mad with him today for that, but hard luck on them. We ain't pulling that maneuver.
All right, I'll give you the final word. How would you describe the Progressive Liberal Party's term in office?
I think we've brought stability to the country. We've set people free, so to speak, because we were locked up in our homes by this man who promised that he was going to save our lives, but 500 people died anyway. So we're free of all of that. The tourists are back in the streets. There's U.S. dollars in people's pockets. So that should be a good feeling. Having said that, inflation is cutting a swath through the country. There are many people who feel they've been denied the opportunity of the good times. So we can't live in a bubble, as I said. We have to be sensitive to those things and get back on the ground and listen to what people have to say and respond to what people have to say so that they can say, well done, you've earned a second term.
All right, Honorable Fred Mitchell, thank you for being on the Rundown.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
Appreciate it. Stay with us tonight. When we come back, we're going to talk to the Bahamas Trade Commission Chairman, Senator Honorable Barry Griffin, and we're going to talk about cost of living some more and what the plans are and what they're doing to address it. You're watching the Rundown. We're back after this. Stay close.
Let's go. At Frame Studio, as soon as you enter the door, we showcase any individual that comes in there and make it feel like they are at home. The space itself is 1,800 square foot. Our psych wall, which is industry standard also, is 24 feet wide. You could do anything that you can possibly think of. At Frame Studio, under our theme, Now Create More, we look at Frame Studio as a canvas. And any artist knows a canvas is blank, and then you create whatever you want to do, right? So we have where you could rent tools. We even have workstations that people could rent out to anyone inspiring to do what I've done, or what my colleagues have done, or any other journey. I would say to you, don't be afraid. The worst someone can actually tell you is no. So if you have a vision, you have an idea, not everyone will get it. But if you believe in your vision, you believe in your idea, I say go wholeheartedly at it.
For more information about the Creative Entrepreneurs Initiative and the Crafting the Bahamas workshops, email info@sbdcbahamas.com or call us at 461-7232.
Is the Little Caesars Stuffed Crust Pizza. Get more pizza for less money. Only $12. It's a whole new level of pizza with cheese stuffed crust so spectacular that there's nothing left.
Pizza.
A delicious pepperoni pizza with the crust stuffed with lots of cheese and brushed with butter and garlic flavor and sprinkled with Parmesan cheese. Hot and ready Thursday to Saturday between 4 and 8 for only $12. Simply irresistible. And only at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
There are over 3 million shipwrecks on the ocean floor, just waiting to be found. Nothing is truly ever lost at sea, only hidden by time and sand. When I put this fleet together, it wasn't just for fun. And although we do have fun, we never lose sight of our goal. Right here, right now, we are on a mission.
What you see on this television station is governed by IRCA's Code of Practice for Content Regulation. The Code of Practice covers matters relating to program content that are of concern to the community, such as local content, news, current affairs, and programs for children, advertising, including political advertisements, and the responsibilities associated with broadcasting in the Bahamas. The code also covers aspects such as access services for the hearing and visually impaired, and the procedure for lodging a complaint about anything broadcasted by this television station. The code is available on IRCA's website at www.ircabahamas.bs. To receive a copy of the code by mail or in person, you may telephone IRCA at 242-393-0234. Family Island dialing is toll-free at 242-300-8722. Or you may send a request by email to info@ircabahamas.bs.
Welcome back to the Rundown. Well, the mission of the Bahamas Trade Commission is to canvass the Bahamian business community to pretty much understand their concerns with regards to various agreements where there is a potential that the Bahamas would be a party to international organizations like the World Trade Organization and inform them about the developments in the negotiations regarding membership. Well, joining us tonight to talk about a myriad of topics is Bahamas Trade Commission Chairman, Senator the Honorable Barry Griffin, and Supply Chain Specialist Liliana Russell. Gentlemen, welcome to the Rundown. Good to have both of you here.
Thank you for having us. Good evening.
Good evening. Good to be here. Obviously, I want to break it down so that our people understand really the work that the commission is doing, because at the end of the day, it means one thing to Bahamians. Am I going to pay less? I'm going to be able to afford what I need to buy, and what are you going to do to change that? So let's talk really about that, first of all, in the fact that this commission has been established really to establish new trade opportunities for the Bahamas. Right about now, when you're seeing a lot of things going on in the U.S. and with cost, it makes you wonder, well, this could be the breakthrough right here. Talk a bit about that first.
So under this administration, this is perhaps the most active the Bahamas Trade Commission has ever been. And so what this Prime Minister has done, he saw the issues with trade that were pending because of inflation, supply chain issues, the war in Ukraine that happened very early on in our term, and he mandated the Trade Commission to be at the forefront of the cost of living issue in the Bahamas. The reality is that the cost of living in the Bahamas is astronomical. We've been in the top 20 highest cost countries in the world for over the last 20 years. So this isn't something new, but Bahamians are feeling the pinch more because inflation is high. And so we've been mandated to look at our various trade agreements, look at the trading relationships we have with countries around the world, take advantage of the great diplomatic relationships we're building around the world through the Prime Minister's travel, through the work of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and basically to turn those into opportunities for the Bahamian people. So our first and foremost goal is to be at the forefront of lowering prices here in this country. And so we have embarked on a national trade diversification program in which we are using these great relationships we have around the world to get the best prices of goods from around the world. So we've seen it with the cost of eggs dropping drastically.
So that was a direct intervention by the Commission.
And so that was SuperValue's response to the calls from the Commission to diversify their trade.
And that's what you want. You want people to be able to take the bull by the horn for themselves and do the same thing.
And so that's what we're doing. It's a two-pronged strategy. One, we're simply promoting to the private sector to say, hey, look at these different supply chain opportunities, diversification opportunities, businesses that are able to do it on their own, like the SuperValues and the larger companies. We say do it. But we also have a specific government program in which we work with supply chain experts like Mr. Russell and his company, where we pair small and medium-sized businesses with companies like his to import goods from around the world. So smaller companies may not have the resources or the know-how to do it, and so we've brought in the experts who are on the ground already helping Bahamian businesses to import products, and we pair them with these companies.
So let's bring you into the conversation, because tell us what exactly specifically do you do in this regard?
Well, in this regard, Clint, well, good evening, Bahamas. My name is Liliana Russell again. So in this regard, what Russell and Russell do is we are a supply chain and logistics company, right? So we source products through all over the world. You know, we've been working through alternative markets for like 2-3 years now. So with this particular initiative that the senator rolled out, it was God sent. You know, because we've harnessed relationships from like 3-4 years ago throughout Central America, South America, China, Europe, Eastern Europe. You know, so you know, we've harnessed relationships from building supply companies, textile companies, cleaning product, assortment of different products. So what we are doing, there are several things that we're doing, several exciting initiatives that we have planned. Over the next 2 to 3 weeks, the existing customers that we have right now, along with new customers, we'll be rolling out a Zoom gathering, Zoom call, where we will be introducing suppliers, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to educate the local retailers, the local wholesalers, in terms of who the vendors are, that the potential vendors that they'll be working with in the South American region that we're working with right now. Some companies want to know, okay, what's the history behind the company? What's the history behind the product that we're getting? Because you know, we saw what happened with the eggs, right? There's a lot of questions behind the eggs. So what we want to do is we want to give you the science behind it. So if there's any questions that you have, right, you can ask in that meeting. Yeah. So we're doing that in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
That makes a whole lot of sense.
And then what we're also doing as well is we're streamlining the procurement process in terms of creating a procurement app, right? Because what we know for a fact with our experience purchasing in alternative markets outside of America is there's a communication barrier, right? That's one challenge.
Of course.
A lot of Bahamians are receptive to purchasing outside of America into different regions, right? But the question is, okay, if I go to Brazil or if I go to Colombia or Costa Rica, the prices are good, but the next question is, how do I get the products out?
And then how do I read the products?
How do I read the product?
In Spanish.
Exactly. How do I read the product? Yeah. And then, right, exactly. So that's where we come in, right? So we streamline that process. We already have the suppliers, right? We create the app, we put the product on the app, convert that into English, and the price is on the app as well, right?
So the Trade Commission is busy working with Russell & Russell as well as a few other companies that have reaches into Africa. We're working with a Bahamian company that's bringing products from Africa. Wow. We're working with companies that are bringing products from the Caribbean. So we're looking into Jamaica, Trinidad for snack food products, for sauces and seasonings that Bahamians love and are used to, all as an alternative to the U.S. market. As Minister Mitchell would have said, the U.S. is our strongest and most dominant trading partner, and that's not going to change anytime soon. However, to ease the burden of the cost of living on Bahamians and also to protect our supply chain and national security, it's important to diversify so that when there are fluctuations and disruptions in the market, we already have great relationships with other sources where we can get products. So we're very excited to be working on these initiatives.
So I'll tell you, so tell me, how's that working? Because Bahamians seem to be people hung up on name brand. You know, we want a certain kind of product. Matter of fact, we call some name brands the product.
Correct.
You know, thinking that that's what it is. We say, I need to go buy some Mahatma rice rather than rice. You know, I need to go buy some Milo. You know, these are all brands, right? So Bahamians like brands. Are we seeing now Bahamians moving away from what they traditionally grew up seeing as the product and saying, I'm willing to try something else if it's more economical?
So it's very interesting. We've been doing polling of the Bahamian people. We have lots of polling where we speak to consumers, and what consumers are telling us is that things are so expensive right now that they're willing to try. And again, we've seen that with the eggs. A lot of people questioned where are they from, but as soon as they got that sort of assurity that these products are safe, they came into the country legitimately, super value shelves absolutely sold out almost immediately.
Yeah, because they're now back to the expensive $13, $7 eggs. Well, $10 now.
Exactly. So now we need new shipments, and so that's actually great. The proprietors of Super Value actually said in a newspaper statement that it was a great gamble. They took a gamble on it, and it succeeded. And so what we're finding is that different people are willing to try different products. So you may not want to try a particular product and stick to your brand, but I may be willing to try a different brand for that product. And so the reality is what we're trying to do to the market right now is to bring variety and options. So your favorite brand will still be there. If you only drink MacArthur's milk or you only want Mahatma rice, it's still going to be there. However, if you are willing to try what they call an off-brand sort of different product, it will be there as well. And so we want to bring that variety so that really and truly it's putting the power into the hands of the consumer. You get to choose where you want to save money or where you're perhaps willing to spend a little bit more for a brand that you are more familiar with. And the other thing I'll quickly say as well, many of the brands that we're used to from the U.S. are actually non-American brands. They're just sold in the U.S. Or the U.S. does sort of value added to give you the product. So, for example, Bahamians are very familiar with the Goya brand, lots of canned goods. That's a Dominican company that also does stuff in Puerto Rico. They are heavily in the U.S. market, and so we buy those products from the U.S. thinking that it's an American product when it's actually not. We can go straight to the Dominican Republic, straight to Puerto Rico, and get those products directly here to the Bahamas.
I do have a view online asking what number do we sign up for the Zoom meeting?
Okay, so yeah, the number to sign up for the Zoom meeting will be 359-3735. So you can just text that number.
Right, 359-3735. 35. And that's how you can get a part of it. I'll give you the last closing remarks. Go ahead. What do you want people to do? Because obviously we need buy-in, right? Because obviously it's about the numbers and the bulk. What do you want to say to the Bahamian people regarding, obviously, very strong and powerful initiatives to reduce the cost of living, but it requires people to actually participate, or else you won't see the movement.
So the thing that the government and the Bahamas Trade Commission wants to get to the public is that our only concern is lowering the cost of living. The reality is the world is changing, the trade landscape is changing. We see every day different pronouncements coming from different parts of the world that will affect us here in the Bahamas. And so we want the business community in particular to be open to change, to be at least willing to speak to new suppliers, new manufacturers. We have lots of trade missions that we're planning where the government will have representatives on the missions, and some of the missions are strictly for business people to go and meet the suppliers in person, go to the farms, go to the stores, go to the factories and see these things happening so that you can come back more educated and inform the Bahamian consumer of what you've seen. So our mission in this, be open-minded and be willing to bring back cost savings to the Bahamian people.
Sounds good. Gentlemen, thank you both for being on the rundown tonight. We've gotten the conversation started. We're going to have you back to talk more in detail on how the programs are working. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. That does it for the rundown. Be sure to stay locked on the ZNS network. The Bahamas tonight at 11. It's the final newscast in the country with the latest news and information with Royston Jones. He's right over there in the building, right over there in the newsroom, getting ready for the 11 o'clock news. For all of us here at ZNS, I'm Clint Watson. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
Bahamas is a very beautiful place. We have sandy beaches and clear waters. We have a lot of tourists coming here. We like to dance and make music.
The Bahamas is a chain of islands surrounded by water. It is about 60 miles from Florida.
We live on Andros Island.